What is up, homies? Welcome back to another episode of the CzechXicans here on Hero Reforged.
Do we have an applause button? We have an applause button. I think there you go. Yeah.
I'd also like to point out that I called it Hero Reforged and not
Hero
Heroes
Reforged.
Reforged. There are three of us
Reforged.
here, if you haven't noticed.
Yeah.
We all look like the same person.
Is there? Is there three of us here?
Who knows?
Are we all the same clone?
Little did Augustine and Hector know that tonight it would only be Hero Reforged. Adam HLAVAC was planning something sinister.
There was murder in the wind.
Murder in the wind.
Oh my god. Perfect. I love it.
That's a great way to start. Yeah.
Before we get started, I just want to say,
Cheers,
I
first of
keep
all.
doing the singular thing. What is
Cheers.
this?
Cheers.
I'm just
Cheers.
going to fire myself off this channel. Okay, he's already drinking. Good times.
Check plus.
Sometimes it feels like that, though, because I'm like holed up in my room just editing.
Oh, I know.
And then I see these guys and I'm like, all right, let's make a video. And then we make a video and then it's back to editing.
Yeah.
And then I see these guys and make a video and back to editing.
Hey,
Yeah.
What's up?
keep up the good work.
I ordered you a dongle, by the way. It's coming to your house.
Thank you.
A nice
Hector's,
thick dongle.
The big, thick dongle is going to make your audio silky smooth.
Thank
crispy.
you. We got a lot of stuff to announce, and so yeah, thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Let's get the housekeeping out of the way.
Right, I'm in the process of fixing my microphone audio. Thank you to anybody who let us know.
You mean everybody?
Everybody who let us know. What else?
I love the enthusiasm.
yeah.
But it's like that thing of like, we're recording a video and in the
Yeah.
middle of the video, I'm not going to say, hey, can you stop talking and fix your microphone and then go
Right.
back and say everything
Right.
you said again?
Kills the
Yeah.
momentum.
It kind of kills the momentum. So I'm like, I'm just going to let it go.
Sure,
and then
sure,
we'll
sure.
figure it out later.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. So we have that going. We are all done with the Book of Boba Fett.
We are.
We are
Finito.
almost.
That has been archived to the server.
Yes.
We are almost done with watching X-Men from 1992,
Season
the
one.
first season.
Yeah.
The first
Yes.
season. So we hit that milestone, and we
Which is
are.
probably going to confuse people because they only
Yeah.
have 2 episodes available on Patreon.
Yeah.
But what we did is we recorded 4 episodes at a time so
Mm-hmm.
we could not spend 52 weeks doing the whole
Right,
show or doing the
right,
whole
right.
season.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be releasing them every single Saturday going forward. So you got
Yeah.
the first 2 this Saturday, you'll have the 3rd episode, and so on and so on and so forth. And the theme park stays open 24/7.
And eventually, we're going to see a cut down, edited YouTube version of that. We're going to probably split the first season up into like 3 videos for YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we hit another milestone. We got Arcane on the way. Arcane.
Give me another applause. Yellow button. 1,600 patrons. That's got to be some kind of a record.
You know what's actually really funny was when we initially started making these goals,
Yeah.
we thought, okay, 1,500 because we're closer to it, we'll do X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
And then we started talking about, well, people really want us to do Arcane. What should we do it as? It's probably going to take a while to get to 1,600.
Yeah.
So let's just set it to 1,600.
Yeah.
Little did we know that
Yeah.
literally like a day and a half after that, it basically got to 1,600 or 2 days maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you guys so much for the
Yeah.
support. We changed some things up in our edits to make it very clear what we were reacting to on Patreon.
Yeah.
I think that really helped, and I think it really gave you guys a sense of how much stuff we're putting out, because there are things on Patreon that we haven't had a chance to go back and cut down, mostly because of time. And
Yeah.
we didn't have editors back then helping. Now we're having some help with Peacemaker, with some future shows that we're going to do with X-Men. So we'll eventually be able to go back and do that. But it just was not possible.
Yeah.
Because we were doing sometimes 4 shows at once. You
That's
would
a
have
lot
just
of
had to
editing.
bury me in my room at
Basically,
that point.
yeah. I'd have to chain you to your desk.
Yeah.
I'd say, Adam, I'll throw you food under the crack in
Yeah.
your door.
And at that point, you're just giving me a
Yeah.
catheter and just feeding me through a
Basically,
tube.
yeah.
But
yeah.
we have now you have a better quality of life. We have an awesome team of folks that are helping us out. So
Yeah.
big ups to the Heroes Reforged team. Thank you guys so much. We've also been just watching some movie trailers and shit recently, which is
Yeah.
really fun, including one we just watched, which is super fun. Chip and Dale.
It should be out by this point,
Yeah,
right?
it should be
Rescue
out at this
Rangers.
point.
Yeah,
It should be out
yeah,
at this
yeah.
point.
Another
yeah.
question: by the time this is out, have we wrapped Peacemaker?
Yes.
We've already wrapped watching Peacemaker week
Yep.
to week,
True.
which is crazy. So like we're right now, I feel like we kind of hit the end of some Marvel, Star Wars, DC stuff.
Yeah.
And we've got a little bit of a break before the next
Yeah.
Yeah.
for the next batch.
But
of
it's not
movies
really
and
a break
shows.
because we just hit 1,600 patrons,
I know.
and now we have
Yeah.
to watch Arcane, baby.
And then once we get to the end of March, we'll be doing Moon Knight.
Yep.
And then in May, it's like towards the end of May, we'll be doing Obi-Wan Kenobi. And then it's kind of up in the air what's going to happen because we don't know the full slate for all the Marvel stuff.
Sure.
We don't know the full slate for all of the Star Wars stuff.
And we're waiting probably until Superman and Lois season 2
is on HBO
Max.
Yeah.
But again, with all of that kind of uncertainty and with us not knowing exactly what the plan's going to be for these releases of stuff and for like stuff that we can watch, we have been talking about like, can we fill in some of those gaps with stuff that we're interested like X-Men or other things like that? So just basically stay tuned because
we hear your comments about all the stuff you want us to watch.
But we also have ideas,
stuff we want to do,
of our own that is like, oh, it would be so cool if we went back and watched this, whether we've seen it or not. Is really, really fun. I'm just excited to be able to watch this kind of stuff with you guys.
I mean, I am too. And honestly, it's the only way you could get me to watch all this stuff again.
Sure.
Because I tried to watch X-Men on my own, and I was just like, I can't just just sit here and watch this on my own. Like, I need this environment to really dig into this, and maybe that's what we're giving the audience too. Who knows?
I don't know. It's just it's really fun to watch stuff with you guys. Am I never gonna find peace? Can I never?
Emo baby.
And I know I experienced this line as a kid, but like just hearing it again, 30 years later, almost of him just going, "Tell Cyclops I made him a convertible." I cannot get over how funny that is. I don't know why it's that funny to me, but I think it's a combination of him being so pissed and then walking out and just saying that to Jean
and just slicing the top of a car off.
Oh man, it's so good. But
come on, you egg-sucking gutter trash. It's those great like non-swear swears. Well, remember the one that really cracked us up was when Gambit was like, "Oh, ho," and Wolverine was like, "Gambit, shut up." And that's all he said.
Oh man,
he just Gambit, shut up.
Good.
And then they kept walking.
No, but I agree. I think that's mostly because I think the time factor is always a huge part of it. If I'm fitting something in for something more than just me watching it on my own, then I'm more willing to do it because you're right. It is really fun to watch stuff with you guys.
It's very different.
Yeah, man.
We never, when we started doing this,
Real talk, I feel bad for people that watched The Book of Boba Fett and didn't love it and watched it at home by themselves or even with a significant other or whatever because it's like, when that finale came out, so many people were just like, bleh. And I was like, dude, I had fun every freaking week with that show. Like, I feel bad for people that could not, we were cracking each other up. Like, that's part of it. I think we've been really lucky finding the shows, or maybe it's because of stuff we are into is really for children, but the crowd pleasing Star Wars or Marvel shows and the stuff they've been putting on Disney Plus, like it's just crowd pleasing. It's just fun. It's fun. So
it's really fun.
I'm not offended that the Book of Boba Fett didn't become my favorite show of all time and the greatest art ever made.
Freaking blast!
It was a blast.
I just had fun watching.
I think I also personally just put different expectations on different types of projects. I know we're going to talk a little bit about the Batman soon, but I have a different expectation for that because of what type of movie it is, the filmmaker that's making it. When you tell me that Robert Rodriguez is going to be the executive producer and one of the main directors of the Book of Boba Fett, because I know his history and I've seen Planet Terror, Desperado, El Mariachi, I know kind of what to expect from him. So I don't go into it thinking I'm going to get some like epic bombastic I don't know, JJ, like I know what I'm walking into. Basically.
I think that there's like, especially because I spend a lot of time, I live on Twitter and on the internet and seeing movie Twitter and seeing people discuss all the popular stuff. There's just a whole group of people that I'm like, do you like this stuff? Or are you in your 30s or 40s or whatever, or even in your 20s or 50s, whatever, but just like, or are you too smart and you're upset that you, because of your job or whatever, are forced to watch every Marvel, every Star Wars, and you'd rather be watching all of the awards that are nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards and talking about the merit of it. Because I'm like, please go do that. Like, please watch all that stuff. Like, geek the hell out about The Green Knight. Just be all about it. But the fact that so much of the time is spent with like, Star Wars is real shit, right? This is for the dumb masses, right? I'm like, are you sad?
The
are
comments
you mad?
for Lord of the Rings. Oh my God! I don't know if I'm feeling it because it's more personal to me.
Yeah.
Of course.
No, it's frustrating.
I'm reading all of these comments, and it's so frustrating to watch this community cannibalize itself.
Yep.
Oh, it's so infuriating.
Yeah.
But it's nice to find other content creators who enjoy it.
Yes. Yeah.
And look at it positively.
Yeah.
Because there's people who are just nitpicking the shit out of it.
I know.
There's people who have gone in and photoshopped what they want the elves and the dwarves to look like, just like they did for the Cad Bane thing where they fixed his face.
Get out
They're
of
just
here.
like, we need this to happen and this to happen. I'm just like, dude.
Oh, man.
It's just been images from Vanity Fair. Those are always terrible. Like, why are you basing your entire
Can we talk about that for a second? Because I feel like that's an interesting phenomenon where something will come out and it doesn't matter of the tone or the quality of that thing, but if it becomes popular, let alone wins awards, which also the Lord of the Rings films did, but just becoming popular by itself, that with that plus time equals people's having a misconception about it.
Right.
They feel as though, because I saw some comment that was getting dunked on, thankfully, which I thought was really funny, but just this comment that was like, this looks bad and goofy, and The Lord of the Rings is dark and serious and gritty. And I'm like, have you read? I'm like, did you forget about Tom Bombadil in the first book?
Did you know The Hobbit was a children's book? Did you know this?
It's just this insane thing. And then before somebody goes, well, yeah, but J.R.R. Tolkien wrote The Lord of the Rings for that Hobbit audience that grew up in it. Did you shut up? Yes, that's true.
Right.
We know this shit. But it's wild because, like, those original movies from director Peter Jackson, who did movies like Bad Taste and The Frighteners and these really like low budget, really fun and quirky, things, had humor in it.
Right.
But it's just because time removed from watching the thing, people think it's like us watching the X-Men cartoon.
Yeah. Right.
People our age love that cartoon and will sometimes even use it in conversations with like, this comic book superhero thing is bad. This is good. It should be good like the X-Men. And I go, have you seen that recently? It's insane.
Have you rewatched that animation? They didn't care about it when they made it.
It is goofy and silly and I don't know. I think that, but there's also, it's part of a larger conversation with like geeky fandoms that attract people who want to be taken seriously. So they crap on it. So they fear anything that looks like as though it's having fun or is goofy, and that's entirely true with superhero stuff.
Oh my God.
And just
we've lived in that world for almost 10 years now.
Just the fact that years ago, when I was like, I didn't love Batman versus Superman because of this, because this tone that I don't think works for these characters.
Right.
I don't know if it was the way to go. And people go, no, we want superhero stories that are rated R, but still true to the comics, but still really gritty and still hard hitting. And I'm like, what's funny is I didn't want that then. And now cut to Birds of Prey, The Suicide Squad, Peacemaker.
Right.
And I'm like, y'all, they're doing what y'all wanted years ago. And I don't see the same level of praise because of the subject matter, because of the characters, and because of the creators involved, and because Peacemaker's also funny.
Right.
Even though it tackles...
God forbid you laugh.
Even though it tackles like the problem of white supremacy, which to me is an adult rated R. I'm like, you could not do that in a kid's show. You could not do it the way they're doing it in a kid's show.
Some guy who said he was disappointed in our reaction to Peacemaker's dad. We're like, what? Because we hate racists? Because we hate racists? Okay.
What was there?
Cool.
Bro. To quote Vision, I request elaboration. What are you talking about? I'm sorry. What?
Do you want us to be Nazi sympathizers? Because that is not us.
I saw somebody else online just about Peacemaker saying, Peacemaker's a great show because it's James Gunn dealing with the one of the biggest problems in the United States right now, which is the divide between conservatives and liberals and Republicans and Democrats. But like it's saying in that show, there are people who have not gone over the edge, who you can pull them back, who are not all the way bad at their core, but they may have done effed up shit. But look at the environment they were raised in. I'm talking about Christopher Smith, Peacemaker himself. Look at how he was raised. What his dad put him through. And then you can understand how he maybe is the way he is. Doesn't mean that he can't, and that's that the core is him and Leota's friendship. And she's on like the opposite political, social, gender, sexuality spectrum. Then
complete.
But they're friends. And they became. But James Gunn is still saying, but fuck white supremacists.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like, but if you see a group
mowed down a whole group of racists.
If you see a group of hood-wearing Nazis, like, do not sympathize with them.
Please, God.
So anyway, a lot of conversation. The Lord of the Rings thing is interesting.
It's weird, man.
I'm
very disappointed.
Well,
very disappointed.
you know what I think is the most disappointing thing I've seen so far is the people who have gone into the comments and said, it's so refreshing to find people who are so open to this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
What? We cannot be one of the.
Well, dude, it's
it can't
YouTube,
be that
dude. Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
But I guess so.
Yeah.
Because again, for me, you know, I like Lord of the Rings, but I'm not so like invested in the lore.
Sure.
So I don't follow Twitter, social media, YouTube, like the discussions around Lord of the Rings. So I had been assuming up to this point that like everybody was super excited for the show.
No, bro.
Until we did the reaction, you talked about how people were like pissed that there's brown people in it. And I'm like, that what? It was just, and then I went into a rabbit hole of like, oh my god,
it's depressing. It's depressing at this point. I can't wait for this show to come down and just shut everybody up.
You know what it reminds me of is because you have that close association with Lord of the Rings. It reminds me of what it's like, what it has been like to be a superhero fan, but also be a brown person since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And before anybody gets on my ass and they're like, what about Blade? What about Static Shock? What about these handfuls of characters that have gotten movies and TV shows and comics versus the dozens and, it's been
endless list.
That experience coupled with, I like Star Wars and I really fell in love with Star Wars a couple years ago. And I like Star Trek, and I really fell in love with Star Trek probably about 10 years ago with the first J.J. Abrams film, the 2009 movie. But even those worlds, the Star Wars, Star Trek, and the two major superhero, DC and Marvel, and Lord of the Rings, feels as though it has always been for white people.
Oh, yeah.
It's always been sort of like very white people friendly, marketed towards white people, majority white characters, you know, white guys basically are like the center and the forefront of everything. And as soon as all of those franchises try to kind of diversify a little bit, move outside that a little bit. What about this character? What about this character?
There's always end of the world.
It's the end of the world.
It's the end of my fandom.
There was always insane. Like I remember even when Miles Morales, the comic book character, came out, and the insane pushback that had. But it's like the more and more and more that people saw of Miles, and the more sort of normal he became, and then he got a movie.
Yeah.
Then it was like, oh, I've loved Miles.
Not just the movie, the best movie.
The best Spider-Man.
The best movie.
But then all of a sudden it's like, it's now Miles Morales is being used as an example of what is not forced diversity. And I'm like, no, you don't get to do that shit. Because 10 years ago, 11 years ago, he was forced diversity. Do you know what I mean? The thing of like, no,
the narrative all of a sudden changes when someone becomes a fan of it.
Lord of the Rings is fine as long as they don't have any elves or hobbits or dwarves be
that
black
are
or humans really. But they could do this and they could do that and they could do that. Don't do forced diversity. And then you go, that shit's not real. That's a fake thing that people say knowingly or unknowingly to uphold stories that are just white people and friendly for white people and don't, aren't more diverse. And so it feels like Lord of the Rings might be only because I love those three movies. I really like the three Hobbit movies. I love me some Peter Jackson. I love that world. And they have been majority white casts, majority New Zealander people, British people, lovely human beings, all of them. But like, it's not like when they made the first Lord of the Rings movie, Peter Jackson's like, great, Gandalf should be black actor, should be, Denzel Washington. Or there's amazing, like, they didn't do that.
Right.
So I think it has almost set up an expectation that like this is and everything goes through it. Like James Bond is going through it. Doctor Who has gone through it. Every major long-running series
franchise,
especially if it comes from a world where who created it? A British person. Oh, okay. What about Harry Potter? Can we diversify? Hold on. A British person. Hold on. It's British. It's got to be British. It's like there's a lot of brown people there.
Yeah, there are a lot of brown British people.
Middle Earth isn't real, but again, all the scholars that have come out and gone like Middle Earth's not real. But even if you're trying to say that Middle Earth is recalling a lot of real world history, there's always been brown people in the UK. There's always been brown people in England. There's always been So that's what it feels like, and it's it sucks, but
it really does suck.
But what makes me happy is how much you love Lord of the Rings.
This is not stopping me from sharing my enthusiasm for the series, but for this show in particular. I'm so excited to watch this show.
Looks great.
Nobody's going to bring me down on it, and if you are a fan of it, come watch with us because we are going to enjoy it.
It's going to be a good time.
And you know what? And if you're not a fan of it, that's fine. But there's also this side.
But don't be racist.
Number one. That rabbit hole.
We learned that from Peacemaker.
That's it. That's it. You have to look at white people doing crimes too. Okay, well that's fair. You want me to kill more white people? No. Would you want me to watch more white people so I'll eventually kill them? Thank you. But even with, and this is true for everything, that rabbit hole also includes people that are going, this looks so shitty to me. This is going to be so bad. Blah 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 blah. I'm like, it's like a year away.
Yeah,
right,
like,
exactly.
If you want to feel that strongly, can you at least wait until September?
Yeah.
At least watch the first
exactly.
episode. I'm not even saying watch the whole season. Really, to be fair, you should watch the whole first season. But like the first episode.
Take a sip of your beer. Jesus Christ.
Sorry, I gotta take.
I know the conversation is good, but you guys drink beer. Relax, guys.
Anyway,
this shit is all fairy tales and kid stories, guys.
But I think the same thing is happening right now with What If, because I posted a tweet and I ended up muting the conversation.
Oh my God, that guy.
I did not know that thing was going to go the way it went. But I basically posted and I said, like, look, What If is part of the MCU canon.
Yeah.
If you skipped it because it's animation, you're doing yourself a disservice because not that everything is going to come back into play, but there obviously will be things that have been teased in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, whether it was the trailer or in the poster, that was first introduced in that animated show.
Right.
And a lot of people were like, well, what if I tried it and I didn't like it? Or what if I only like some of the handful of episodes? I'm like, that's fine. But I'm saying if you are turned off by it simply for the fact that it is an animated series and you think it's kiddie.
Or think it's not canon.
Or think it's not canon, then
it's the same as Clone Wars into the Book of Boba Fett.
Exactly.
Cad Bane in Clone Wars and Bad Batch just showed up in the Book of Boba Fett. Same thing.
Yeah.
That's all you were saying.
Ahsoka Tano, baby.
And then that dude, it was like,
my God.
I'm like,
the real angry dude.
Spent a little bit of time on his feed, and I was like, oh, you're garbage.
Yeah.
Garbage.
You hate everything.
Jesus.
So and it's just one of those things that I'm just like, I guess for me, again, when it comes back to the expectations, mine always differ because I'm kind of, I try to stay aware of like who's making it, what is it, time constraints. I guess not everybody does that, and they're just kind of like, I want it to be the most epic shit I've ever seen in my life.
Listen,
suck me hard. And I'm like, just relax.
There are people who, say for example, what do you name some movies that like people will sometimes say is their favorite movie of all time or one of the best movies of all time? Name some.
The Iron Giant.
The Godfather.
Sure, The Godfather. These amazing seminal pieces of film history. Empire Strikes Back. But like, I hate to break it to anybody, but the new Doctor Strange movie that's coming out, it's going to be a PG-13 Doctor Strange MCU movie.
Yeah.
What do you expect it to do? Like, if you're not,
you think Michael Myers is going to show up and like brutally murder everyone?
Or do you guts hanging out of people?
Wait, what did Vigilante say? I'm going to fuck you so hard, or do you in the ass that it's going to come out looking like a tail?
Or do you think it's going to like pivot and become a Terrence Malick film?
Right,
or do you think it's like
Tarantino movie?
It's not going to be The Irishman. It's not going to be a Martin Scorsese movie. It's going to be a Sam Raimi directed superhero
and even that.
Yeah.
I still always put an asterisk.
Yeah.
Because it is a Sam Raimi directed movie.
Right.
But
it's
he's
an
making
MCU
it
movie.
in the world of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yep.
So if you think that people like Kevin Feige, Louis D'Esposito, Victoria Alonso, Michael Waldron, the writer, if you don't think that all these people are like putting their hands on and saying like, well, for this movie, we should really make sure that it ties into this, doesn't tie into that, we can't do that because it's too graphic, we can't do this because we don't have the budget for it. That is the reality of making movies.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, and and like you were going to say, if you feel like any of those people aren't super talented and good at what they do, and if you feel, and it's a valid opinion, that Hollywood is mostly bad and messes up artists' visions, then like Marvel movies aren't for you, and that's okay,
for sure.
But it's all about managing expectations, and even with something like the MCU being based off of Marvel Comics. I love Marvel Comics.
Right.
But not every single page and panel and issue of a Marvel comic is the greatest. Like, I'm like, this was a job.
There's a lot of hot garb out there.
Dude, and this was
a lot of hot garb.
And even at the height of, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and John Romita Sr. and all these people just making all this stuff. For 10 plus years, these were guys who were like blue collar, hardworking guys,
just locked
cranking
away.
stuff out to
Didn't
get
Iron
their
Man
paychecks.
have roller skates at a certain point?
It's just
something.
And I mean,
manage your expectations.
Yeah,
that's all
and the big reason for that is a lot of people today who get into superheroes, who get into all the stuff that we're into. They don't read every issue. They read the greatest hits.
They read what they want.
Of course, if you read the greatest hits, you're going to think that it's all amazing.
Yeah.
But, you maybe don't read Invincible Iron Man number 74 where he's got roller skates and like, I don't know.
He's,
like
he's saving some lady with a grocery bag. Who knows?
Yeah, like there's plenty of those issues. And that's totally fine.
That's A-okay.
Like you got to take the good with the bad.
It's still a comic book, mostly for children.
Let's dovetail off of this venting session since we just were talking about Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Adam, you found something incredible that nobody else seemingly has found in this trailer that we just watched.
This is a Heroes Reforged exclusive.
Do we have a sound? Do we have a sound for it? Yeah! Heroes Reforged exclusive. Yeah!
Adam, hit us with that exclusive.
So
wait.
Oh, there you go.
That's a little more magical for Doctor Strange.
Okay.
Everyone knows that I'm a real snob when it comes to the quality of trailers on YouTube. I hate them. They look like crap, and I hate the fact that people post pictures from them because all they're doing is screenshotting their video player on YouTube.
Yeah.
I take the extra effort to go to the EPK sites, electronic press kit websites, where they give you the full high-quality HD version. And because I am...
Didn't Apple trailers used to do this too?
Apple trailers used to do this.
Yeah, they used to have higher quality
high
versions
res
as well.
that you could click on and download and stuff.
I remember going to that site before going to YouTube.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
A lot of trailers.
Apple trailers used to be the place to go for trailers.
Yeah, that's right.
So, because apparently I have all the time in the world, I downloaded this trailer. It's 150 megabits per second, so it's really high quality. And I started frame by framing through it. And this was long after we did the trailer
found this
reaction.
image 5 minutes after we finished shooting the trailer reaction.
Actually, that's true. So because when we do the trailer reaction, we all watch the YouTube version together because sometimes the press kit version has stuff at the head and the tail, and I don't want it to like mess up the sync.
The timing,
So as soon as we were done, I started going through it, and I started like framing through it, and there was like, you had mentioned like, oh, I just saw the dinosaurs. So I went to that, and then someone on Twitter had posted like, why is there this weird like cone? Is this like an incomplete visual effect?
That's what I thought at first too. Because the cone is an image for it's a symbol for VLC digital player, right? And so and then behind the cone was just a gray,
and you couldn't really make out what it was.
Flat,
no
shadows,
just flat,
no
gray, nothing.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, somebody just forgot to turn on the layer.
Yeah,
whatever.
So then I started frame by framing through it, and then I realized, oh, they're passing into an animated universe.
Put up that shot right now. Put it up.
Put it up.
Look at that. Enhance. Zoom in. Enhance.
Because
zoom
in the first shot, you can see that Doctor Strange's costume is slowly changing. But then I started going through the next frame, and for literally one frame, him and America Chavez are animated.
Yeah, because they're coming out of it into the dinosaur dimension or whatever.
Yeah,
the Savage Land potentially.
Yeah. And so what does that mean, Adam?
No one noticed this. No. Everyone was sharing the same image of the cone with Doctor Strange, looking normal with America Chavez. I even went as far, I loaded the trailer into Premiere, I rotated the image 90 degrees so I could see the dinosaurs, in the orientation, and then I played it through and I'm like, yeah, they're passing from one universe to another. It looked amazing. So that was primarily the reason why I tweeted about people that they should watch What If, is not only the stuff that's teased on the poster, but also the fact that like we could see Doctor Strange go into, and I rattled off potentially the What If universe, the X-Men 97 universe, or the Spider-Verse.
Whoa.
Which, like, any of those three could be crazy.
Whoa.
I would say Spider-Verse is the least likely because Sony,
I would say it's the least likely,
What If being the major contender.
I don't know, dude. With the way that No Way Home has become, like, the highest grossing movie in years, and the fact
just that Avatar domestically.
That Spider-Verse was such a banger, that if there was an opportunity to kind of like, look, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, we talked about this, might be jumping the gun a little bit with certain characters, only because there's previous versions of these characters played by other actors. Patrick Stewart, Charles Xavier.
Right.
We talked about, are we going to get like a Reed Richards in this before we meet our Reed Richards? So what if there's an opportunity for them to meet Miles Morales before the MCU has their own Miles Morales? And it's the actor in Spider-Verse.
Not Lakeith Stanfield.
That would be amazing.
Oh my God.
What's his name?
Why am I blanking on him?
From Dope.
From Dope, yeah.
Oh my God. Shameik Moore.
Shameik Moore.
Jesus.
Shameik Moore. I mean, they could do a segment where Benedict Cumberbatch and the actress playing America Chavez,
Xochitl Gomez,
like go into the Spider-Verse, and then here is Miles Morales that they meet, and then when they bust through, maybe Miles gets live action, maybe not, but like that could be them. Frame. Yeah, that could be them kind of acknowledging it, and then years later we're going to get the MCU version.
I have a feeling, just judging from the frame you found, Adam, that that whole sequence is going to be more chaotic than anything.
Yeah,
they're going to be passing through so quickly.
Exactly. I don't think it's going to be a case in which they'll be like, "Oh, I can stop here and meet Miles." It's just going to be like crash.
I think it's going to be Easter egg city for fans.
Yeah, exactly, and that's where we're going to see a lot of the Easter eggs.
Yeah,
and I have a feeling that through those crashes is where we're going to get into that Illuminati scene, like this whole like. Who knows? Because he was bound at that point, right? He was he was in cuffs or captured or something.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get into some scene that could potentially just ruin the MCU as we know it.
I mean, look, right? I know I made a joke, or you brought it up, saying that if all three Spider-Men exist in various versions of the multiverse, that means that Four Stick, the other Fantastic Four, X-Men. Ben Affleck, Daredevil, like all that
Wesley
stuff.
Snipes, Slade, Eric Bana, Hulk,
all of that stuff exists in the multiverse. So, like at that point, I'm like, it's actually not that far fetched to expect to see like Ben Affleck show up for 5 frames of a movie, literally.
Right? Exactly.
You know what would be? You know what?
Guys, before we continue on with the episode of the CzechXicans, we have a very, 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 very special announcement today. This episode of CzechXicans is sponsored by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped recently launched the Ultimate Men's Hygiene Bundle, the Performance Package. You can now join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer.
Wait. That's 8 million balls.
That's true. You can now get 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code HEROESREFORGED. At manscaped.com.
The Performance Package, this thing is amazing.
It is real performance.
We each got our hands on one of these, and I opened it up, and I kind of didn't know what to expect, but I was like, oh, I thought I had already been treating my balls good.
Yeah.
No.
It was like a Ferrari for your nuts.
Yeah.
just to give you a little insight as to what's included in the Performance Package 4.0. Lawnmower, trimmer, weed whacker, ear and nose hair trimmer, crop preserver, ball deodorant, which... smells delicious.
Ball deodorant.
Crop Reviver toner. Performance boxer briefs.
Oh, I love that.
Get rid of the ones that have all the holes in them. And a travel bag to hold all your goodies.
It's the lap of luxury is now going to be your lap. Look, fellas, let's be real.
The pandemic is ending.
Slowly but surely. If you're putting yourself out there, you don't want to be coming out of the panini like Robin Williams in Jumanji talking about, what year is it? With his full beard and full hair. You want to make sure you look good and you feel good, so take care of yourself. Again, it's the lap of luxury.
Manscape it up.
And it is time to take care of yourself, so go to manscaped.com and get 20% off, plus free shipping with the code HEROESREFORGED. You're supporting us. You're supporting your family jewels.
Yeah.
They will thank you later, and we thank you. Back to the episode.
You know how Michael Keaton Batman is going to be a thing?
Yeah.
We can talk about this later, but there's rumors that the Flash movie is also going to, say, for example, have a cameo scene, Linda Carter, Wonder Woman, or some kind of maybe like a digital recreation. If it's all cool, and especially with the actor's family, Christopher Reeve, Superman.
Christopher Reeve
Why not just use Brandon Routh at that point?
Well, why not?
They could use Brandon as well.
Just to be able to say, like, because look, Michael Keaton's playing Batman. Is that technically the same Batman as Kilmer, George Clooney?
Right.
I think so.
I always used to think that those movies were sequels of each other, but now I'm like, oh, is it not?
But like
they are. I never saw them as sequels.
Yeah,
they address things in the other movies. So I don't know.
And certain actors like Alfred are the same throughout all 4.
Right.
Yeah. So, but it's
Pat
like
Hingle, Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah. But it's like, but that's still the Michael Keaton Batman that they went to. They didn't go to Clooney just because he's the most recent. So even if a Brandon Routh Superman exists and is supposed to be the same Superman as the Richard Donner Superman, what if there was a moment to be able to, again, in a way that these meta movies have been acknowledging history. If they acknowledged DC film history and they went, here's a scene with Christopher Reeve, and he says a thing or smiles or does one thing, and then we're going to bounce out, and then we're going to just have Ezra Miller meet Superman and then bounce out. Does that mean that it's all just to say it's all in play?
Right.
Let your imagination go wild. Now fans can go home and imagine a world where Michael Keaton could meet the Christopher Reeve Superman, could meet
John Wesley ship Flash,
the John Wesley ship Flash, and have that sort of late 80s, early 90s Justice League.
Yeah.
That's going to make me cry.
It really is.
It's going to make me cry.
Oh, and also, like, go get John Wesley ship Flash.
John Wesley ship's Flash suit is still amazing.
And let Grant Gustin also have a cameo in that.
Yeah,
right, because we had Ezra in Flash.
Yep. So all of this back to like the Marvel, the Doctor Strange of it. I think that you guys are right that it's just going to be sort of like Cameo City.
It's going to be chaotic. Yeah,
chaotic cameos.
Yeah.
But I think that I just trust those guys so much because we were having these conversations for years, and I think we also had concerns. And then Spider-Man: No Way Home came out, and it was like, oh, okay, they knew what to do.
Yeah.
It's not this, it's this. It's not going all the way here, but it's this. And still acknowledging Alfred Molina, Jamie Foxx, Willem Dafoe,
Thomas Hayden Church. Everyone,
You're good.
Yeah.
You're
Not just like the actors.
Yeah.
Honoring the studios that they came from, the directors that were involved, like the people, the fans who have stuck around, just everything. It's so weird how they paid such good homage to the entirety of those franchises.
Yeah.
When it's just kind of like a cameo capacity. But this is what made me not worry about what's going to happen next in the Multiverse of Madness, because we potentially have Xavier coming in. Like, dude, that's like mind shattering to have a character come in, that kind of character come in with that origin story and is already part of the Illuminati. Like, that's just wild to just jump to that point, right? And so that just puts my mind at ease that Marvel knows what they're doing. Yeah. They've clearly planned out the next 10 years of this phase or however long it's going to go. And so I'm basically just along for the chaotic ride. For sure. Like it's just going to be fun.
I think we're all in agreement about how we're feeling about Marvel. Let's kick it over to DC.
The one last thing I do want to say about the
first
Marvel
of all,
Cinematic Universe.
Good job on that, Detective.
You really, good job finding that.
Really good. Adam
exclusive,
ladies and gentlemen.
Exclusive. Heroes Reforged exclusive.
That's right.
The one last thing I do want to say is it's been fascinating to watch the progression of Phase 4 and how different it is from the first 3 phases where everything's sort of kind of like tied into each other more tightly. And it's not that Phase 4 has not done that, but it is somewhat looser. Like, I know WandaVision, some of the events will tie into Doctor Strange 2.
No, but you're right.
But like a character like Kang the Conqueror, who was introduced in Loki, we've heard nothing about that character. Like, he's not showing up till Ant-Man 3, and I'm whoa.
I think that they're playing the long game. Yeah. And I think that they know not to just like, okay, we need to do Avengers 5. It's like, no, you need to have the things that happen in Avengers 4. Yeah. Steve Rogers retiring, Tony Stark dying, Natasha Romanoff dying, have an impact. Yeah. Wait. And I think you're right. I think it has been so spread out only because they're kind of going back to the drawing board and being like, let's do another Phase 1 where we're just setting up all the characters.
Let's do it differently. Let's just not do the
set
same
up
thing.
all the characters.
Also, you can't do another Thanos level event. Like, you can't do that.
Just rinse and repeat that
so
again.
what is a Kang the Conqueror look like when he is a Thanos level threat? Like, what does the villain arc look of a villain who can do more than Thanos did? Yeah. So, like, what is Kang going to do? How are they going to get rid of him or kill him or convert, like, find one of his, variants to, like, convert him over? There's just so many things up in the air that have to be different from the initial first phase that we saw.
You know what moment I cannot wait for is when somebody kills Kang. Somebody's going to do something and, like, boom, and, like, shoot, like, Jonathan Majors Kang, and he's going to fall over. Yeah. And everyone's going to be like, what? Is that it? Yeah. It's just for like a pause. Yeah. And then out of nowhere, it comes in another Kang. Like, did you really think that you could defeat me? Like, just like another variant. Exactly. Just another like, oh my God, how are you supposed to beat this guy? It's not just a guy. It's all the guys.
It's all the guys ever.
It even made me go back and think about things like WandaVision. And I know the Ralph Boner thing is like a very controversial topic.
No, it's fine.
It's not. It's really not.
But when I think about WandaVision, I think about the fact that Michael Waldron, who wrote Loki, is writing Doctor Strange.
Yes.
You start to see the little seeds.
Yeah.
You start to see, they put Evan Peters there for a reason. Evan Peters for a reason, because now we have Xavier. So you see like all the little things, the variants. Seeing Richard E. Grant play comic book Loki. Like you're seeing all this stuff and you're like, I know why you're doing this now, especially after seeing the trailer for Doctor Strange and then seeing Spider-Man No Way Home. You are planting all these little seeds to get us kind of comfortable with the idea of all these concepts. And then Spider-Man, it's there. Multiverse of Madness, it's there. All there.
Yeah.
I think, looking back, I've been thinking about Marvel's past year. I think Loki is going to be like the most important.
It's the game changer.
It's the game changer.
Yeah.
I keep thinking about Loki, what happened in Loki. And like, I was listening to some of my music on my iPod the other day, driving on the freeway.
The Natalie Holt score is...
It's amazing. But just like, I was on shuffle for just like the MCU. And I'm like, listen to a track from Black Widow and like a WandaVision or whatever, Shang-Chi, which is awesome.
Hector, do you ever not listen to that?
That's all I do. That's all I do.
Hey man, you and me both.
All I do.
My MCU playlist has everything.
And then the Loki thing came up, and it's like, and I was like thinking about it and
with the
thinking
theremin,
about the show.
That's what you're hearing.
Yeah, and then was just thinking about what happened in that show, and I'm like, oh my god, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
It's absolutely wild.
Game changer, like you said.
Yeah.
So,
And we saw the first hints of the timelines breaking at the end of that show.
Yeah.
And then they came back a little bit in Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Or not Doctor Strange, Spider-Man. And so I bet you we're going to start seeing more of that more often.
It's so fascinating how, because that takes place outside of time and space, and that thing with He Who Remains took place at the end of time, but like, they created the multiverse, and that means the multiverse has always existed.
Yeah.
So it's this weird like causal loop of like,
things,
when did that, how did... So how could there be? There was a sacred timeline. They enforced it up until, but then it's always been. And then Loki comes back, and it's like Owen Wilson doesn't recognize him.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Time, baby.
Dude, time. Speaking of crazy timelines, we got new DC stuff.
Yeah,
which potentially is kind of doing the same thing.
I know.
Like, there's so many characters who they're just kind of jumping to. So explain this new little mini trailer that we got. This.
Oh yeah,
advertisement. What is it?
I will say I'm a little bummed to not have known enough context about what that trailer was.
I don't know what it is,
because it reminded me of the video that Marvel put out last year, Marvel Back to the Movies or whatever it was.
Right.
That it had like clips from Shang-Chi, Black Widow, Eternals, and then it had all the title cards for what was coming up in the future.
She-Hulk and Moon Knight.
Yeah, I loved all that stuff. But then this DC one, it was basically the same thing, but I didn't know how much more footage they were going to show.
Yeah. Right.
We saw stuff from Black Adam. We got to see Dr. Fate, Pierce Brosnan. We saw Atom Smasher. We saw Hawkman. Aldous Hodge, who looked amazing as Hawkman.
Yeah.
We got to see a little bit more footage from The Flash. We got to see very, very brief things from Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. And then obviously Batman, because it's like the most upcoming thing.
Yeah.
So there was a little part of me, because people were asking, like, why didn't you react to this? I didn't know it was going to be that until I watched it, and I'm like, oh, it would have been cool to see. It would have been cool to do a reaction and see this in a trailer, but I guess I'm going to see this in a DC ad.
Just a heads up, if anybody's watching, it is helpful. We love the enthusiasm when people go, hey, react to this. This just came out. But it is helpful if it's something like this that you think might slip through the cracks, that we might not know the context of, without spoiling it. But if it's helpful, if somebody tweeted at you and they went, hey, heads up, this has new footage.
You should watch this.
You guys should react to this, because it has like a bunch of new footage from these upcoming movies in kind of a sizzle reel, but worth watching. Check it out.
Right.
And then you would go, oh, actually, let me look into this. Oh, a bunch of people are talking about it. Yeah.
Because I really was just expecting title cards and maybe like some stuff we saw at DC Fandom.
Because it was called like, it was on YouTube, and it was like, DC, like, the world needs heroes. And
right.
It's like,
and I'm like, that's so vague. I don't know what that means.
What do I do with this? How do I? Cause, and I think people need to know the way we watch trailers.
Yeah.
It's not like normal people. Right.
Yeah.
Adam and I were watching the Super Bowl waiting for Lord of the Rings to come out.
This is not even an exaggeration. This is exactly how it went.
This is exactly what happened. So Adam and I both turn to the TV. We see Amazon Prime. You see the boat, and we both go,
literally, we like looked up at the ceiling, closed our eyes.
My wife in slow motion goes, no! She goes for the remote and like switches the channel really quickly. Quickest draw in the West, dude. She saved all of you from getting this trailer spoiled for us.
We literally, like, that happened. She changed the channel. We looked at each other and we went, what is our life?
Yeah, she's like, what
is our life?
And then she goes, she's like, I should have filmed that because that was freaking hilarious.
Like, that's the that's like at the level that we try to avoid stuff. Or our dear friend Ryan Unicombe, when Doctor Strange came out, he literally texted me the 60 seconds after it came out, he said, "Get off the internet."
Yeah. Because for
me was like, great.
Because Professor X would start trending on Twitter. You know what I mean?
Like, right, exactly.
Or it's that stuff where it's like Charles Xavier or Patrick Stewart returns, and I'm like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Yeah. In fact, before I saw that trailer, I was trying to stay offline, and I think my girlfriend was on her computer for something, and she went to Twitter and she says, "Oh, is there a new Doctor Strange trailer?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She goes, "Dang it, I just had something spoiled for me." Like, she hadn't seen it, but she saw enough people saying about it. And I was kind of like, "Oh snap, I avoided it. All right,
but I missed it.
I'll go in the garage. Bye." It's crazy.
But,
so
I mean, it was a cool trailer.
So you haven't seen it yet.
What, the little trailer?
Yeah,
I have.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, good.
I saw it through osmosis, dude. Like, it was just on, and I was like, oh, there's a new DC thing.
Yeah.
And what sucks about that is that I feel like there's no hype behind it, where there should be all the hype behind these characters.
Yeah.
All of these characters deserve the type of hype that Doctor Strange is getting.
Yeah.
Because it's a big deal that these characters are coming back, and to just kind of just let it out and not really tell anybody.
Well, and on top of that, like, I assumed that when that came out, I was like, oh, we're going to get trailers for the Super Bowl then.
Right.
Nothing. There was nothing. There wasn't even a TV spot for the Batman. I was like, oh.
You know, what's
the plan here?
What's interesting about that is I think that you're right, Augustine, that it feels like there isn't as much hype. Again, depending on who you ask and who you talk to, if you go online and you find DC fans, they're the most hyped about this year. And even a lot of movie Twitter, they're saying, you know what, the DCEU, this might be their best year ever. Depending
solid lineup,
solid lineup of what's coming out. Even if you don't include the Batman, which some people do include, that's part of their DC output. I think that Marvel has been really smart at knowing how to market their characters, first of all, and secondly, even for characters that might be kind of tough to market, like say for example Doctor Strange. I mean, it's easy to say it's magic. They knew to be like, let's get Benedict Cumberbatch. He is a very well-known actor. Let's get Chiwetel Ejiofor, let's get Rachel McAdams, let's get Tilda Swinton. But then they knew, they're like, let's put Doctor Strange in Thor 3.
Yeah.
Let's make damn sure that Doctor Strange is in Infinity War and Endgame. Let's put Wong in Shang-Chi.
And let's also make him kind of like, give him an important part in that movie.
Hugely important. So that, because the first Doctor Strange movie came out in 2016.
Right.
And that's going to be the longest gap between sequels in an MCU franchise, unless they come out with a new Hulk movie, which will be like, damn, dude.
Bro, you come out with a new Hulk movie? Oh my God.
Maybe, but like for Doctor Strange, that's part of a challenge, except it's not a challenge for them. There's nothing, because he has been in all these other movies, and people are so familiar with the character now and the concept that when you do that, including Scarlet Witch, Elizabeth Olsen, who just came off of WandaVision, it's win-win-win. So then you get to DC and they have like Aquaman's back, and he's going to be teaming up, or he's going to be fighting Black Manta for real this time. And then in Black Adam, it's already like, who's Black Adam?
Right.
And Warner Brothers is banking on, it's The Rock. Dude, that's awesome. He puts butts in seats.
The hierarchy of power is about to shift, and I'm like,
what does that mean?
What does that mean?
Who you don't even have a Superman right now. What are you talking about hierarchy of power? Like there's no status quo to upend because there's no status quo versus like for every Marvel movie they could be like everything changes. The Avengers will be disassembled in this, and you go, oh shit. But if Black Adam's like the Justice League is no more, we're all kind of like, yeah, we know. Like there isn't one. The Justice League is no more.
We knew that.
Yeah, we knew. So just the fact that it's Black Adam, and it makes me think, I'm like, what if the character had been in Shazam?
Right.
Would that have helped? Would that have helped? Because it doesn't matter how many people saw Shazam in theaters or whatever, but just eventually to keep that momentum, like maybe they could, as soon as the Black Adam trailer comes out, then maybe Shazam on HBO Max, if he was in it, would get more views because people would, just like how
now I want the context.
Charlie Cox in Spider-Man No Way Home.
Oh my God, the Daredevil views went through the roof.
In like the top 10, and this is a show from 2015. That hype machine keeps hyping everything. The same. Then Hawkeye came out, same thing, right? People are like, I miss Vincent D'Onofrio, Kingpin, and then they went back to watch it. So then Black Adam's thing is like, we're bringing the Justice Society, and I'm like, nobody knows who these characters are. The marketing, to be fair, there's no trailer yet. But like the marketing for the first Captain America movie was, this is set in World War II. Justice Society normally has been that. Could there have been a Justice Society movie set in World War II? And then you get to Black Adam, and it's like, now these are the next generation Atom Smasher, the next generation, Dr. Fate, the next generation, all these characters. Maybe that could have helped as well. It's just, it feels like the DC superhero brands are these islands. And the connectivity is just, oh, Margot Robbie just did Birds of Prey. Now she's going to do the Suicide Squad.
Right.
That's awesome. That's awesome. But like,
it was great.
In terms of like what these movies singularly are doing, you know, that plan has not become vaguely clear.
Yeah.
The plan at Marvel has always been vaguely clear, especially the first phase, the plan being they're eventually going to team up into the Avengers. Oh, shit. And then at the end of Avengers, here's Thanos. So here's vaguely our plan. Yeah. This is vaguely what we're going to do is Thanos. So then it was 2 phases of waiting for that. But right now, DC, as a brand, is just sort of like, we're finally listening to you guys. We're making good movies based on interesting characters. And that's kind of it. And it's just, it's old school movies because you cannot rely on the marketing of previous movies. You can only rely on, does this movie look good and interesting, and is it well cast, and will audiences respond to this movie by itself? Yeah. And as soon as that movie's over, they're starting from scratch.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, will audiences respond to this one again? Yeah. You know, the Marvel movies, just each one of these movies just
they all kind of support each other.
They all support each other, man.
And now they're doing it across 2 studios.
Right.
Yeah.
With Sony.
Yeah.
And eventually, if they do Deadpool, what?
I don't know.
No?
I don't know if 2 studios are doing the work there, Adam.
Well, I know what you mean. No, I know.
Really, 2 studios are benefiting, but I don't know.
2 studios are benefiting, but yeah, 1 studio's doing most of the work.
Yeah.
But I think that'll even be the case going forward. You know, I think if Deadpool ends up being a movie, you know, I don't think it's going to be a Disney release. I think it'll be a 20th Century Studio release. Yeah. So I think that will potentially continue as well. And you know, and I think that's what's kind of the bummer about the DC thing is, I being a DC fan for the majority of my life, I know the Justice Society. I know Dr. Fate. I've seen him in Smallville. I've seen Hawkman in Smallville. Yeah. I've seen so many versions of these characters in animation and TV series and all that stuff. So I'm going into it going, oh, this is gravy for me. Mm-hmm. But if you've never, ever seen those characters, then like,
well,
this is going to be...
So that's the thing. That's what you have to take into account. So now that Marvel is basically taking over the world, try to find somebody who doesn't know what Marvel is.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You're finding DC in very pocketed hardcore fandoms, which is great. Like people who love DC love DC.
Unless they're assholes, then no.
Yeah, unless they're assholes, then you know we don't want to talk to you.
Again,
but like
Peacemakers, good to go.
Yeah, Peacemaker's dad, not good.
No,
we don't want you here. But so that's the more difficult thing, and now Marvel is in this position where they can do these crazy multiverse shenanigans and introduce crazy characters and introduce people from other franchises because they've built that synergy between the characters and everybody kind of ties into the story.
And the trust with the audience.
With the audience. So now we're buying everything that comes out, right? It's just like, cool, throw everything in the kitchen sink. Whereas I feel like it's kind of opening the door for DC to do that, which is cool because the audience maybe is more primed to accept that kind of thing.
And I think the TV shows also helped a lot, too.
Yeah, the TV shows help. They help a little bit because, once again, there's a lot of people who don't watch shows because they're on the CW, right? Like, they won't even give a show a chance.
Go watch Superman and Lois.
Go watch Superman and Lois. It's incredible. So that's the thing. Like, with this multiverse happening in Marvel, I feel like it's DC's opportunity to just be like, let's just go for it. Let's go full gun.
Yeah.
Let's just get the Justice League together. Let's go, big bad and get, Brainiac in there or, somebody.
They're doing the Wonder Twins I just read yesterday.
Yeah, something and just go for it because we're past the area or the phase of one big bad, everything building up to the one big bad after 10 years of movies and
I agree.
That's not happening anymore. It's been done.
I agree.
If anybody tries to do that again, it's just going to feel like a big just knockoff of what already happened. So go full bore, dude. Just like bring in all your big guns and then start branching off franchises and making sure that everybody's taken care of. But we're in a different phase or in a different area cinematically when it comes to this superhero franchise because it's not, it sucks to say, but it's not 2017. It's not 2018 anymore.
Yeah. Dude, it's not 2008.
Yeah, it's not 2008 anymore.
Do you think that The Rock as Black Adam alone could be, because here's the thing, I think he's going to be somewhat heroic in his own movie.
Of course.
But do you think,
I mean, he's in the trailer for Hero.
Right.
Hero. But do you think that character could be enough of a, oh shit, we need the Justice League to stop Black Adam?
So that's,
and it'll be like the Justice League, Jason Momoa is Aquaman. Ezra Miller is the Flash. Gal Gadot is Wonder Woman. Bring back Ray Fisher as Cyborg.
Do we know if Black Adam is a period piece?
I don't. I think it's modern.
Okay.
I think.
I don't know.
Again, I also don't know, and I don't want to assume stuff, but like I feel as though DC has moved away from embracing the Justice Society as a World War II thing. Yeah. I think they're like, if we're going to do Justice Society, it should be now. And it's like, then it doesn't make any sense. Anyway,
I feel like The Rock is one of the biggest movie stars in the world.
Yeah.
But I feel like he has a hardcore fandom that will always go see him no matter what.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's a big, wide, general audience kind of thing where like the majority of people will go see a Rock movie. Because The Rock has kind of put himself in a position where he's like Shaquille O'Neal. Yeah. Shaquille O'Neal puts himself in anything.
Yeah.
He'll do your deodorant commercial.
I mean, he did the Super Bowl.
He'll do the Super Bowl. He'll do the General. He'll be on your toilet bowl scrubber commercial.
The Rock,
whatever,
The Rock
dude.
being in a movie does not mean that movie will be good.
Exactly.
Right. That's not a bad thing.
And it's not a bad thing at all because this is The Rock's trajectory, right? That's his career. Whereas like what happened on the other side is you took maybe lesser known actors or lesser known people, but built the characters and made that actor become Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Tony Stark.
Hemsworth is Thor.
Yeah,
Evans
Hemsworth
is Cap.
all those characters. I didn't know who Chris Evans was.
Yeah.
But like I saw him in Fantastic Four, but I was like, that guy's bad. Like why would I want to watch him as Captain America?
Sure.
By the time his role was done, I was sobbing because his story was done.
Right.
And so it's difficult to say that The Rock can carry this on his own because he is The Rock. But if anybody could carry it on his own, it is The Rock, right?
Yeah, but I think
it's kind of a weird dichotomy.
It feels like what you're saying is like Dwayne Johnson doesn't need Black Adam, but Black Adam needs Dwayne Johnson more.
Bingo.
And that doesn't necessarily inspire confidence in the character of Black Adam being done justice because you're like, oh, we're at the mercy of Dwayne Johnson and his production team and whatever they want to do, basically.
Yeah.
It's
and
not
we know
like,
that The Rock is one of those actors who likes to have stuff rewritten particularly for him.
Sure.
Exactly.
Then again, who knows? This may be a match made in heaven. Once we see the movie, we may think of this as like, oh, dude, this is Dwayne's best.
This could be his Robert Downey Jr. moment.
Yes,
right? Like it could be his character.
And I know he's passionate about it. I'm not saying he's not, but you're right. It does feel like, whereas it feels like Zachary Levi, so passionate about Shazam, he talked about in his career how he's like, I needed this. And so he needs Shazam more than Shazam needs him.
Levi, right.
So it felt like he was all in to service the character and to just, versus
whatever the character needed, I'll do it.
Dwayne Johnson, I'm sure this year has like 20 movies releasing. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, he's shooting stuff every five weeks.
Every 5 days he's got a new movie coming out. Yeah.
And there was that lovely video where they like wrap production on Black Adam, or like one of the videos where like they have like a lottery at the end of each week to get somebody like $5,000 or something like that. And he's like, oh, this week's winner is, and he's like, who's this guy? And somebody was like, that's Jeff. He's like the lighting guy. He's like, Jeff, the lighting guy. And you're just like, Dwayne, you're so busy.
Yeah.
You're at the top of that call list.
Yeah.
You don't even know anybody's name.
Nope.
Maybe you shouldn't be calling this, bro.
Yeah.
It does not make you look like a man of the people. It does not make you look like a man of the people,
Let
bro.
Christine, the production assistant, do it. Like she knows everybody.
She knows everybody.
She's getting everybody's coffee.
It's just because. But here's the funny thing, though. Despite all of this, we all know how hungry Dwayne is.
Right.
Dwayne Johnson talks about being hungry and humble.
Hungry.
And humble.
It's about pride. It's about power. We stay hungry. We devour.
He works so hard.
It's true.
He works so hard. So
man.
like, I'm not saying that he's not bringing his all to the character. And I'm not saying that like you know.
Absolutely.
I feel like he's always doing 110%.
All I'm saying is that it definitely feels as though this thing even only happened because Dwayne wanted it.
Right.
Yeah.
Versus
Since 2007.
Versus a studio being like, for us to tell this story, we need a Black Adam. No. We need Black Adam.
Right.
We need Black Adam and Shazam to be in the mix because we want to tell these kinds of stories and we want to, build out this universe. But then again, who else made it happen? Ryan Reynolds.
Absolutely.
That's true.
And with Deadpool. And if that's not a match made in heaven, I don't know what is. So like,
absolutely.
so hopefully, I know they're pals. Yeah. So hopefully Ryan, called Dwayne, and Dwayne was like, "Hey, tell me about this.
Advice.
Tell me about the superhero thing." And Ryan was like, "Look, do it this way. This is what you should do for your character. But make sure you're doing this to honor this."
Though, The Rock knows how to make charming characters because he started as the heel in wrestling and became the champion of wrestling back in the day. Like he was the guy.
Yeah.
So if anybody knows how to get a character like this and really make him a star, it's The Rock. But once again, the DCEU is in such a weird place where it's I honestly don't know what to think anymore at this point, and I'm just accepting it for what.
I want to ask you guys something because I've also been. I think about this every single day. I think about this more the way that people think about their children. I think about this.
Abby, I'm sorry.
How often? We don't have kids, but I'm just saying.
No, I'm just saying. You think about this more than you think about Abby.
Yeah.
She goes, when is that motherfucker going to learn how to cook me a breakfast?
You know why?
By the way, you said you were going to cook us something on the last podcast, and you didn't bring anything.
He didn't bring some cereal.
Damn. You didn't bring the double-decker PB&J like you said.
Listen, fellas. No, I think you're looking for this.
That's the one.
Yeah, that's the one.
Guys, give me until they take the Netflix shows off of Netflix. I'm busy until then. As soon as they take those shows off of Netflix, I'm going to be free.
Are they going to Hulu or Disney Plus?
All the shows, when all the shows are
Hulu.
off of Netflix, that's when you'll start cooking.
Well, the Marvel one specifically.
No. I mean just all the shows.
Just the entire
archive.
All the shows. The Marvel street level heroes.
Okay.
I think probably Hulu, but here's the thing. I'm honestly, fingers crossed, hoping for Disney Plus to add them to their Marvel page and to just have a disclaimer at the top. They go, oh, you know what else? And to plug them into their little whack ass MCU timeline that's already incorrect. Yeah. Plug them in there. I would love to start an episode. We're gonna miss the dun dun.
Right.
That Netflix logo is not going to be on there. But to start Daredevil...
Wait. Real quick. Is that important to you when you, does that put you in a mood before you start a show?
Well, hold on a second.
It does.
When
the badum,
when Star Wars was acquired by Disney and they removed the 20th Century Fox fanfare...
It's weird.
And it's just silent.
Yeah. And you're like... And then it goes, it is weird because the fanfare
so used to it.
gets you. You're just like gets you there, and then it hits you. Yeah. So
anyway,
I think that it would be great if a disclaimer came up on Disney Plus and it said the following is intended for mature audiences. There is, it's very violent and and there's profanity and adult content.
Please do not edit that stuff.
No, leave it as is because honestly, they do that for the Muppet Show. A show from the 70s, not for every episode, but for some episodes of the Muppets where they have racially insensitive, putting it mildly, characters and Muppets and stuff and jokes and things that you go, oh, this is offensive. This is some of the stuff on the Muppet Show is to the point where I'm like, if there are kids today watching it, maybe even the kids will catch it and turn to the parents and be like, Mom, and the parent might have to be like, it was 1978. Sorry. To have a conversation. Yeah. So just that same sort of disclaimer, put that in front of the street level heroes, leave it all there, leave it all the same. And I'm sure that, I don't know, it just feels like, dude, the MCU and Marvel Studios, they're like Thanos. They're just collecting stones. They want it all in one hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
I don't want Thanos to have to be like, and then over here on Hulu. No, he wants it right here, dude. He wants it.
I will donate these to Paramount Plus.
You can have this. You can have this.
This one goes to Tubi.
Yes.
Nobody watches.
What is this? Hit Monkey? Nobody's watching.
Nobody's watching that.
What is this? MODOK?
Straight to Voodoo. Straight to Voodoo.
Yeah.
Is Quibi still a thing?
Quibi.
No?
This is going to Quibi.
Reboot. And this will go on the Arco gas station pump while you're waiting for gas.
And this one is only on DVD on Netflix. So you 4K, have to wait to get it in the mail.
I lost my initial train of thought, but here's what I want to ask you guys.
Black Adam 5,000 years and then in the modern day.
Here's what I was thinking about is I think that when you compare Marvel Comics and DC Comics, I think that Marvel Comics, one of its strengths has always been its continuity. It's pretty good. And I think DC Comics, one of its strengths has always been they'll do stuff outside of continuity. They still have a continuity. They still have a main timeline, a sacred timeline,
but they'll tell different stories.
But they'll do Earth 1 and Elseworlds and Kingdom Come and Dark Knight Returns and Watchmen and all these different things. And I think even in the past couple of years, some favorites have been like Mr. Miracle by Tom King and Mitch Gerrits, because that is it's outside of continuity, but it's still this amazing comic book with such great ideas. And the fact that some of that was maybe going to be an Ava's movie, that's what people got really excited about, because it's like the writing in this is really good. And even if the New Gods movie was outside of the DCEU, it got to a point where it's like, who cares? Just let them make the movie because it's going to be a good movie.
Right.
And I think that Warner Brothers is... maybe unintentionally, they're just copying what DC has done in comics. MCU is copying Marvel Comics, and they're like, we got to make sure the continuity is good. Warner Brothers is like, let's bring back Michael Keaton, and everyone's going, that doesn't make any sense. Sure, like let's just do a rated R Joker movie. Okay, sure, fine, and it kind of is echoing what the comics are doing. Yeah. So, do you think that they should keep going in that direction and make basically these little islands? And if there's an opportunity for crossover or the same actor to play the same character, great, go for it. But like, to think about some of your all-time favorite DC comics that you've read, even stuff like Batman The Long Halloween, which is supposed to be in continuity, but it's also kind of like it was done in the 90s, you know, a decade after Batman restarted and decades after an actual beginning of Batman comics. And in Here's a Long Halloween, it's like, here's a story that was from Batman's year one that that you didn't know about. And then you have The Batman coming out. And it, like, do you think that that's what Warner Brothers should do? Should they even try to do any kind of a shared continuity anymore?
I think this answer would have been different back in the day, maybe the first phase of, Marvel before Thanos came up or whatever.
Yeah.
I would have said it would be wrong for them not to pursue this continuity, like everybody's in the same universe kind of thing.
Yeah.
But at this point, I feel like in order to set yourself apart and to keep yourself out of the game of people comparing you left and right, step by step, criticizing everything you do because it didn't live up to what somebody else did, the only way to do that is to say, look, I'm creating a 3-movie Batman arc with a new Batman, a new story, new directors, new everything, and we're just going to tell this one story. Doesn't matter what it's going to tie to in the future. We have plans to make more movies from now until forever with these characters, but we will tell different stories at different times in different eras forever now. And I feel like that's it. Just currently, this might not be the case forever, but currently I feel like that is the only way to keep yourself from being compared to the Juggernaut, basically. You know, and not playing the Juggernaut's game and just going and doing your own thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what I would do. If I was running the studio, I'd be like, you know what? We're going to hire dope ass directors. We're going to hire people who you've never heard of, but their movies are amazing. We're going to hire, bring back some of the comic book artists, and we're going to tell really specialized, highly stylized stories that are going to blow your socks off, and they're going to end, and you're going to love them because it's only these 3 movies. And then you're going to be looking forward to the next one because we're going to have something completely different for you. And it could include the whole Justice League, or it could be a Green Lantern movie, So
I like that. It's almost like if you can't join them, beat them. Like if you can't
beat them, play a different game.
Right, that's what I'm saying. If you can't beat them at their own game, and you can't join them in that same sort of race, do your own thing entirely. And Marvel Studios' MCU has specifically avoided rated R movies thus far.
Right.
But then Warner Brothers just did a rated R Joker. They've done rated R The Suicide Squad.
Yep.
Birds of Prey was rated R. And it's like those have been successful critically, commercially, especially Joker made $1 billion. And it kind of disproved the idea that Disney, I think, has where they go, well, if we do rated R, we'll make less money or sully the brand or whatever. So I think you might be right. Adam, what do you think?
Well, of course, there's that part of me that, like, my 13-year-old self is like, I would love to continue building out a shared universe.
Absolutely.
Because that's like...
Look, I'm on your team, dude.
I know.
I would love to see that continue.
But let's be realistic.
But I think the reality is, one, I still don't fully feel like that studio has a person or a group of people who really fully know how to successfully create a shared universe that feels like it embraces what those superheroes are, what they represent.
I agree.
How to tonally set them apart so they don't all feel the same but are still true to who they are. At the same time, I'm really excited about the Batman, and they're going to do potentially a trilogy. They're doing an HBO Max series as well that takes place even, I think, before the movie.
They're going to do a trilogy? They talked about that?
That's the initial pitch was doing a trilogy. They haven't announced a second movie yet, but I'm assuming that they will because there's no way that this movie's not going to do incredibly well. And, with like all the other characters, they're doing a Shazam sequel, Aquaman sequel. I feel like the direction that they're heading right now for the time being is let's focus on Aquaman, trilogy. The Flash, potentially trilogy. Shazam, potentially trilogy. Wonder Woman, trilogy.
Yeah.
And then let's see like what happens, how the movies do. The Flash is like the one kind of odd man out because it takes place within a specific continuity, but it's also now going to break that continuity, replace the Batman with a different Batman.
I don't like it.
And Superman is going to be MIA for the foreseeable future, which like I'm super not a fan of.
Yeah. It's weird.
Green Lantern's a character that like they constantly tease. We're going to give an HBO Max TV series. Greg Berlanti's going to do it. We've heard nothing about it for 2 years.
Yeah.
What's happening with that? He was supposed to have a movie. Cyborg was supposed to have a movie. You know, like, what's going to happen with the Justice Society after Black Adam? Will they spin off and get a movie? So it is one of those things where I'm like, yes, I would love to have one fully shared cohesive universe like we have on the Arrowverse on TV, because I think it's amazing with those when those characters get to cross over.
Yeah.
But there is also that part of me of like, well, if I have to meet them halfway, and part of the sacrifice is I won't get to see all those characters on the big screen together for the foreseeable future, and I have to rely on the TV shows to do that, fine.
Sure.
I'll compromise and just give me really good movies until then.
Well, what if, I mean, there's no saying that can't happen either, because there could be a Justice League arc where it's like...
I mean, they almost did it with George Miller.
We don't need to focus on how the team gets together. Because these are the 3 biggest superheroes in the world, right? You don't always have to tell their origin story.
Yeah.
You can just say, hey, they're already together. This is year 1 of them doing their thing. Let's follow this 3-movie arc of the, the perils of what it's like to be a fresh team with a wild Batman, Superman who is super hard-headed, and then Wonder Woman who's trying to put everything together, right? And so you can make that really cool arc and bring in all those extra characters, right? In like a cameo capacity, because Spider-Man showed us that you can bring in really dope characters and have them be very effective, and then leave the audience wanting more. And then that particular, say, Green Lantern comes in, does his own, Green Lantern Corps thing eventually. Doesn't even have to be the same actor, which sucks because we're so used to that this franchise of like, oh, well, this actor is this person, so he has to be the next person. No, they don't. They don't have to, because the studio can do whatever they want. And,
they may not even do Hal Jordan. They'll probably do John Stewart.
Right, exactly. And it is detrimental to, I know, Hector's brain. Hector's continuity brain.
Right.
But at the same time, it's also freeing that you can tell a different story without the constraints of what came in the past. Which I think is a bold move. It's a lot more risky. But it also gives you a lot more freedom at the end of the day.
I think it all depends on what the stories we're talking about is.
Exactly. It depends on the stories.
You're talking about the freedom that is afforded a storyteller to come in, and I think that I want that. But you know what?
He's gonna cry.
You know what?
He's gonna cry.
I don't want that.
Okay.
Because let me tell you why. Because Adam just said there's no like person or group of people. Because earlier you described Kevin Feige, Victoria Alonso,
Esposito.
These people that have been running the Marvel train for 10 plus years, so that even when they announce a movie, Edgar Wright's going to direct Ant-Man, and it doesn't work out with Edgar Wright, you're still like, they're still going to do an Ant-Man movie.
Right.
They'll get somebody, and it'll be fine.
I mean, with Doctor Strange, they got Scott Derrickson,
Sam Raimi.
And then they got Sam Raimi. Yeah.
And but on the Warner Brothers side, now that they've been announcing movies, and they announced hella movies at Warner Brothers in the DC world, they're like, we're doing this, and they've definitely jumped that gun. They have definitely announced stuff that they shouldn't have. But when we get an announcement,
this back in Comic-Con like 2017.
I know, dude, we were there.
Remember that?
It was with that wraparound. They're like,
exactly.
Nightwing, Batgirl,
and even
Society.
Honestly,
blah, blah, blah. Like,
even the audacity of their logo pisses me off, because the logo was like Superman, Batman, and I'm like, no,
not there.
Like, they're not there. And then they pull out, and it's like all the characters of DC,
the Hall of Justice.
The Hall of Justice. I'm sitting here waiting, and I'm like,
the Legion of Doom. And I'm like, where are they?
We haven't even
where is it?
Right.
But
who's to say? Because I know where you're going, and I don't want to cut you off. But who's to say that eventually it won't get to that point? But keep going.
I agree. I think you're right. I think that you guys are both right, because what Adam was saying about that Marvel team being the through line, that even if a director or a project gets shifted around, you're still like, it's going to be okay. It's okay. They've got it figured out. They got the rights to Spider-Man, and then they push back some movies like Captain Marvel and Black Panther and different things, like a year or two to make room for like Spider-Man Homecoming. And then, but it wasn't like Spider-Man Homecoming has now replaced the first female-led movie, Captain Marvel, and the first black hero-led movie, Black Panther. It was just like, we're just going to push them back a bit to make room for this, to fit into the story. And we know it'll be okay because Marvel Studios is going to actually they will make those. Versus we got the Cyborg movie announcement and we're stoked.
In 2014,
and then it hasn't, or even Black Adam, Dwayne Johnson like revolving around this role.
15 years or whatever.
What you're talking about is if they don't have that they have freedom to have directors come in and writers come in and go, here's my pitch on the character. Right. Here's what I want to do with Wonder Twins. And because of their freedom, aka no plan, they can look to each other and go, that's a pretty good idea. You should do Wonder Twins. And I want that, but at the same time, when they announce we're going to have Ava DuVernay do New Gods, but then it doesn't come through, I just get so crushed.
Absolutely.
And I'm not like, oh, it's cool. It's cool. They'll find somebody to do New Gods. No, they will not.
Doing it.
No one else is. If Ava doesn't want to, if they didn't hire her to
Ava
do
and
it.
Tom King, yeah.
Ava's the one that said her favorite character is Big Barda.
Yeah.
You tell me, Warner Brothers, you're waiting for directors to walk into your offices and tell you who their favorite DC character is when there's no other DC characters but Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman. Like, you got to build up those characters.
You're right.
You got to pitch the characters to the directors to come in and go, we think you'd be great for Plastic Man. Before you laugh my head off, here's our pitch on Plastic Man. Here's why we think you'd be great for it, and we want to get John Ralphio, voice of Sonic, to be Plastic Man.
Right.
Like that is what I wanted, but I think the reality is that's not how it's being run right now.
Bingo.
And so now, because that's not the reality, I'm pivoting to Augustin's plan. I'm pivoting to like, okay, fine, you guys. Every couple of years, DC puts out a banger comic book.
Right.
Usually, it's out of continuity. Usually, it's something like that.
It's
and
a
I'm
one-off story, right?
Keep doing the TV shows and movies that way. We haven't even brought up Watchmen on HBO, which has been maybe the best comic book show, live action, ever made. And it's
one of the best stories I've ever seen.
It's phenomenal. I love it with all my heart, and it is a sequel to the comic.
Which people thought was not sequelable.
I know.
Right.
It was not sequelable. That's a word, right?
But yes, it is.
It is not
sequelable.
In that regard, I think that it makes sense that there are people working in Hollywood today who have been so influenced by the Watchmen comic that they walked into Warner Brothers and they went, this is my take on it.
I've been thinking about this since 1991.
Yes.
Let me tell this story.
And then also I think HBO pitched it and they're like, Warner Brothers and HBO, they're like, we want to do a Watchmen something.
Yeah.
And then so they told Damon Lindelof, and Damon was like, oh, crap, if somebody else does it, they're going to screw it up. Kind of a thing. But I can understand. I knew that Damon Lindelof was a fan of Watchmen. Yeah. I knew that he had the capability to assemble that writer's room and to make that show. But like, not to knock everybody working in Hollywood, I just don't have faith that there's somebody walking around right now whose favorite character is Martian Manhunter. I don't have that faith. I wish I did, but that means then I have to rely on one or a group of people or the studio, and that's been disappointing until they come out with one movie and then they go, okay, now we know how to do the trilogy. We did Aquaman. Now we know how to make Aquaman movies.
We got you. We got you, Papa.
We did Wonder Woman. Now we know how to make Wonder Woman movies. Which then it's exciting and it's really cool. But yeah, man, it's
you know who does? Us three. You know what DC could do? Yeah. They could hire us.
They could hire us.
We have a plan.
I've been in your building.
I'll drop everything.
Yeah, I was the wrong one.
I'll drop everything.
I've worked at DC.
Listen,
worked at DC.
I have no idea how to make a movie
You've been
or
to Jim
television.
Lee's house.
That is also true.
Yeah.
And Zachary Levi was there.
Yeah. That sounds really creepy, bro. Like you were in the
Halloween
bushes.
party.
He didn't know you were there, but you were at his house.
But it's just, I think I was also thinking about this because I watched that trailer, Sizzle Reel, We Need Heroes, and it was very exciting.
Yeah.
And man, the Flash's costume looks great. The Hawkman looks awesome. Pierce Brosnan.
I don't think the visuals are an issue.
No.
The visuals look incredible.
It's that when I stepped away from the whole thing and they listed every movie, and it started with the Batman, I was like, he's not involved.
Yeah.
That was the first thing I thought of. I was like, man, what a great movie that looks like. Yeah. And it has nothing to do with the rest of these. And not everything needs to be goddamn connected. But what I'm saying
but it does. But it doesn't.
What I'm saying
but
is,
it does, but it doesn't.
It like people might be mad at me and they're going, look, do you get mad that, Little Women isn't connected to Fast and Furious? I'm like, no. But I would certainly get mad if Fast and Furious 9 had no characters in it from Fast and Furious 1 through 8. Do you see what I'm saying? If you're adapting the world of DC Comics, part of the hook there is that these characters live in the same world and they know each other.
The
That's
the
part of
it.
it.
If like Hobbs and Shaw didn't have Jason Statham, you'd be like, what?
Yeah.
And even then, Hobbs and Shaw is its own thing, almost in its own continuity. But it's just the thing about you're dealing in the world of IPs.
Yeah.
If people are like, Hector, you're stifling a creative's vision, I have to go to that director. Go direct something else then, dude.
Go to Netflix. Go to Amazon Prime.
I'm sorry. Todd Phillips, do you really want to do Joker, or do you really want to tell a gritty urban... you really want to do Joker, so you're going to do Joker. Whatever. Don't tell me that it's about creativity and that you would only be, But then I'm going to go to bat for Matt Reeves because he wanted to do Batman.
Yeah.
And then initially that project was like, okay, well, here are
the Ben Affleck.
Here are your requirements.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be Ben Affleck. And then I'm sure Matt Reeves looked at that character and he's like, no, it doesn't vibe with what I want to do.
That, yeah.
Not only that, he was in negotiations to do the movie.
Yeah.
And then it fell apart.
Yeah,
and
that's
they
right.
reported like,
That's
never
right.
mind, Matt Reeves isn't doing it. And then like 2 weeks later, it was like, never mind, they came to an agreement and he's doing it now.
Yeah, because I'm sure that Matt Reeves, as a director's vision, looked at the framework that he had to work with, and he was probably like, I can't do this here.
Yeah.
I can't make the Ben Affleck, I used to be Batman, but Dick Grayson was killed by Joker, and now I kill people, but now I was inspired after I learned Superman has the same name as my mom. Storyline. I know I reduced it and that was reductive and that was mean, but like he probably looked at that and he was like, not a great framework that I wanted to.
Or just not the story I want to tell.
Or the version of the character who he probably looked at. He goes, what kind of thing hasn't been done in Batman in film? Mm-hmm. And then he looked at that framework and he went, this doesn't vibe with what my idea of,
Or my
so
excitement.
he was like, okay, bye. But then Warner Brothers, they gave the director the freedom. They said, no, you can do whatever you want. And so what does that lead to? It leads to a couple years later, Aquaman 2, Flash 2, Black Adam, Shazam 2. Matt Reeves did whatever he wanted over there.
Whatever that is.
A la carte Batman.
Coming to you this year.
Vampire Batman, bro.
And you're like, damn, that's awesome.
That's crazy.
And in a perfect world, that Batman would also just be a part of the. That's all I'm saying.
Now, before this episode turns into a 3-hour-long podcast,
yeah, sorry. Oh God,
and a perfect world, let's talk about Star Trek because I know you're very excited about the Paramount Plus stuff.
One last thing I will say about Batman.
Yeah, please.
That bat suit that was on Twitter looked really cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And to all the people who are complaining about it, it's a stunt person
actor
in a stunt suit.
Yeah.
Relax.
Flash the picture.
Yeah.
Show him what's up, Adam.
Yeah, and that's also exciting. But there's, again, just part of my brain that's just like, so he's
Why is Michael Keaton in Glasgow filming a Batgirl movie with J.K. Simmons as Gordon?
So he's going to be in Batgirl now? Like, yeah, that part. Whatever.
It's all a part of the master plan.
It's all part of the plan.
It's all a part. Hector hit me with the creepy sound. It's all a part of the master plan. There was murder in the night.
I'm over here like, hey, when are we going to see Superman again, though?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, are these characters ever going to see each other? Remains to be seen.
Henry?
Remains to be seen.
Henry's like, I'm going to go do Bone.
Mr. Cavill? Mr. Cavill?
At this point, this is a really long sound effect. Yeah. This is really long. At this point, just do film adaptations of singular graphic novels that are good.
Yeah.
Right? Mr. Miracle, just make that movie.
Yeah, just knock it out.
We don't have the foundation. Just shut up and do it. Just do that.
Vision. You saw Vision, right?
Yeah.
You can do it.
Just do that. Just do that. Yeah, exactly. Martian Manhunter.
Yeah.
Pick the best Martian Manhunter comic and then make that a movie.
Do that. Boom. Got it.
Who cares?
Done.
Anyway, Star Trek. Exciting because...
That's it.
Exciting.
Thanks for watching, everyone. It's been a great show. We'll see you next month. Bye.
Well, we could have ended it there. Exciting. That would have been funny. Bunch of stuff was announced through Paramount Plus, and now Viacom CBS is no longer called Viacom CBS, but now it's just all Paramount.
Yeah,
all Paramount. What is it? International or Paramount?
I don't know. Paramount
Plus.
Paramount Plus. Paramount, and they're showing up. They got a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
So we saw concept art for the new Ninja Turtles movie,
which I thought was going to be live action.
I knew it was animated.
I thought it was going to be live action too.
No, I think when they put out the teaser image of like a notepad and scribbles on it, and people are like, this is the Seth Rogen produced and written and maybe directed Ninja Turtles movie. People were like, what? Mm-hmm. And then somebody somewhere said it's animated. And I was like, I think we may have had this conversation where I'm like,
yeah.
it's cool, but it also pisses me off that the last 2 Ninja Turtles movies were so bad.
Yeah.
That the owners of Ninja Turtles,
we're not doing live action anymore.
they pivoted. They're like, well, okay, well then maybe it just works in
2017 MNT. Let's just try to recreate that magic.
Which, dude, I love animation. This could be the Spider-Verse of the.
It could be
like a beautiful animated film.
I mean that Rescue Rangers looks like it's kind of flipping the script a little bit.
Looks good.
But Gumball's been doing that for decades. So
yeah. So that's what's happening with Ninja Turtles. Paramount Plus also announced that they're doing a Blue's Clues movie with the 3 hosts of Blue's Clues.
Cool.
That's the that's the No Way Home right there.
It's really sweet to see Steve and Joe and everybody there with a CG Blue. They're like, we're doing another Paw Patrol movie. We're doing like this and this and this. Oh, a new Dora animated show.
Ooh.
And then a new Dora, I think they said like a live action series that is in the vein of the most recent Dora movie, which I really liked.
Yeah.
Which was for a little bit for older audiences and kind of funny and subversive and, making fun of itself. What else did they announce? Transformers.
Well, the TMNT thing, they also did say that they're going to be making spin-off movies about some of the villains.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, and here's the other news, too. The SpongeBob world, they're getting character-centric original movies for Paramount Plus.
Oh, that's cool.
So I don't think the characters have been announced, but think about the characters in the world of SpongeBob. If you have a favorite character, they may or may not be getting like a centric movie for them, which is kind of cool. It's just like, and hopefully they have hopefully they look nice, and maybe they don't have the budget of one of the previous SpongeBob movies, but they have more of a budget than like an animated episode of their show or whatever. So
I'm impressed, Hector. You're Mr.
Cool.
SpongeBob himself.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting.
That's cool, man.
You're
good at NDAs.
Thank you. The thing about SpongeBob, the thing I love about SpongeBob, which I didn't really understand until I started doing this job, was that the people who work on the show now, the 3 shows, they have 3 shows. They really, a lot of them have been there from the beginning, and all of them love SpongeBob so much, and they're super protective of it. So it is kind of a case where, I think Viacom or Nickelodeon or whatever thought, okay, we're thinking about doing this. And these folks were like, okay, no one else is going to do it except us. Yeah. Because if anybody else did it, they'd screw it up. They'd mess it up. And they love SpongeBob so much. Yeah. So, I think those movies are going to be really fun and really cute.
I'd watch them.
Transformers. What's going on with Transformers?
I think they announced that they're doing some new animated series, I believe.
On
top of doing
the 3 new live action movies.
Yeah, and then they're already going to have the one movie that's coming to theaters next year.
Mm-hmm.
Is it next year? At the end of this year? I think it's next year.
Yeah.
It's the the Beast Wars introduction movie.
Yeah.
I forget what it's called exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Beast Wars.
Yeah, intriguing. I wonder if they can. I thought Bumblebee was great.
Loved it.
And I thought Bumblebee, I was like, this is so great, but it is too little too late. Mm-hmm. This is the 6th Transformers movie.
Yeah.
And 5 of these are bad.
Yeah.
And then you come out with Bumblebee that I'm like, if this was your guys' shot at trying to restart the whole thing, again, it kind of, how does that tie into the rest of the Michael Bay movies? It doesn't quite fit. It's
right, and
unfair.
I think Michael Bay is a producer on this new Beast Wars movie.
Well, then forget about it. Second.
And the director of that, Stephen Cable Jr., was the director of Creed 2.
Cool.
So I'm like, okay, I like Creed 2. I'm hoping that it's more of that than OG Transformer movies that Michael Bay did, because
they haven't
like
aged
most
well.
of them.
Yeah. And Transformers
I don't like any of them.
2 through 5 I thought were very bad, and the first one has aged poorly, but I really liked it when it came out.
Yeah, me too.
I thought it was really cool. So, but then they're doing new animated show. Transformers is going to basically start up in a big way.
Yeah.
I'm just going to watch Transformers Prime again.
Transformers Prime is legit.
It's the best.
Yeah, nothing on G.I. Joe. And again, if it were me, I would be like, here's the Hasbro world. 1 Transformers movie, and in the same year, 1 G.I. Joe movie.
Yeah.
Or swap it. But I'd just be like, here's what they should do. But I think Snake Eyes got him to stop. Did you guys see Snake Eyes?
I did not
see
Snake Eyes.
Bad. Very bad. Henry Golding, great. He should be like James Bond. That guy is awesome. But that movie was very bad.
Dang, now I want to watch it.
Honestly, maybe worse than the other 2 G.I. Joe movies.
Was it worse than American Ninja?
Yeah.
Oh, now I gotta watch it.
Because American Ninja has a budget of $4.
Yeah,
and
that's
was made
true.
35 years ago.
Yeah.
So when we watched it,
due to inflation, those $4 were like $4 million.
Yeah.
So
but watching American Ninja today, it's a good time.
It's a fun time.
Watching Snake Eyes : G.I. Joe Origins, I was like,
it's bad time.
No,
it's bad time.
Oh, what a bummer!
I don't like you.
What a bummer! What a weird. Anyway,
Star Trek.
Their shows are killing it. They got a bunch of different shows. Blah, blah, blah,
what are you
blah,
most excited about?
honestly, a movie announcement.
Okay.
So they announced that the director of WandaVision, every episode, Matt Shakman is directing a new Star Trek film where J.J. Abrams and I think his production team, they're producing it. And J.J. was like, I'm very excited about the story. Like, we're and Matt Shakman's going to direct it, and it's going to be awesome. And they're bringing back the cast. And they said Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, Zoe Saldana, Simon Pegg, John Cho, Carl Urban.
Nice.
And those are 6 of the 7 characters.
Not Keith Urban.
Not Keith Urban, not Nicole Kidman, not any of the Urbans, but Carl.
Yeah.
But that's everybody. And Anton Yelchin passed away.
Right,
of course.
And
rest in peace.
Right before the last one came out, and in 2016.
Yeah.
And he was one of the 7 main characters of the Chekhov is one of the main crew members of the Enterprise of that era. So they got everybody. And that makes me really happy. And there's nothing really else that's new about it other than just they're reuniting it. And they're really stoked on the story. And it's going to be filming by the end of the year to come out next year. And they said it was a priority for Paramount to make this movie. But everybody in that cast is so busy. And I was like, that's actually true and makes me happy that this wasn't something that was put on the back burner for other reasons other than, listen, Zoe Saldana, she's
marveling it up.
She's marveling it up. She's got avatars.
Mission Impossible in
Mission
it.
He's,
Avatar. Those movies have taken up like majority of her life.
Absolutely. John Cho was doing stuff. He did the Cowboy Bebop show. That just everybody had just been doing stuff.
Yeah.
And then... And wasn't Zachary Quinto, isn't he on a show also? I forget what Zachary Quinto's up to right now.
Yeah, Zachary Quinto was on something,
He's on like another TV show again. And so anyway.
Didn't he try to do Heroes again? Didn't that come back?
Dude, he was not in that.
No, he wasn't in that. That was Zachary Levi.
Oh, yeah. No.
Was it?
Yeah, Zachary Levi was in it. Yeah.
Didn't they try to reboot that?
No, bro.
2016.
Zachary Quinto was the main bad guy.
No, but Zachary Levi was in the
That's
reboot.
Confusing.
Yeah.
That's confusing.
Too many Zacharies.
Yeah, exactly.
Too many Zachs.
So anyway, I'm super stoked on this.
Me too.
This makes me so happy because this is, if I'm being honest, this is one of my favorite corners of Star Trek, period.
Yeah.
And I think there's so much potentiality that has not been fully, explored.
You're right.
Yeah.
Because it hasn't snagged me as much as it has you yet.
Yeah.
But I'm absolutely open to being wrapped up in that property to like really look forward to it as much as I look forward to anything that anybody else is putting out.
I hardly ever watched Star Trek as a kid, whether it was the
never
movies
did.
or the TV shows. Like it would come on TV, and I'm like, I don't think I'm really into this.
Actively hated it as a kid.
Oh man,
because it would always interrupt my other shows.
That you really
Hercules,
wanted to watch.
the Legendary Journeys,
or even like when the Fox Kids block was over after school. It's always like Star Trek or like whatever. And I was just like, this show looks like it was shot in my parents' van. I don't want to watch
this. Nice ass van, bro.
Just tan and taupe. Just like brown carpet and like brown leather, and that's all I saw. And I was just like,
oh my god! So this is the perfect time to announce that we're going to do a reaction series for Star Trek: The Next Generation,
baby.
But it was the same thing. It was the same thing for me, and for me, the hook was that teaser trailer for the very, very, very first Star Trek. Was where you're just like panning up across the ship. You have the narration, and then I went to go see it because I had known JJ from Mission Impossible because that's really all he had done up to that point.
And was the director of the first episode of Lost,
right?
And had kind of helped develop that
and
show.
He obviously done a lot of TV up to that point, but movie-wise, I had only known him from MI3.
That's all he did.
Yeah, so then going to that movie, I'm like, oh, I was wrong about Star Trek. Star Trek is actually like pretty cool.
It is cool.
It's
and
awesome.
then I mostly just followed the Kelvin trilogy up to this point. But then they were going to do Chris Hemsworth and Chris Pine were going to meet again. They were going to maybe do Noah Hawley was going to do it. Then maybe Tarantino was going to do a Star Trek movie. And I'm like, oh my god, are they ever going to make a Trek movie? And now finally, like I'm glad that they announced. I just hope that stay on course, stay on target. Let's get a new Star Trek movie next Christmas. I would love to see that cast again because it's been so long.
Yeah. I think I would be happy to, even if it was the last one, because those 3 movies, I think that they're a mixed bag, but I think that the first one especially is great. It's one of the all-time entertaining popcorn movies, great emotion, great cast, beautiful cast. I think that there's no excuse for this new one to not be the best one of them all.
Right.
No excuse. If this comes out and people go, it was better than Beyond and Into Darkness, but not as good as the first one, I'll be like, no, that's not good enough. It really should strive to be
the one.
And that means big emotion and big spectacle,
Yeah.
and frankly, I'm sorry, big action.
Mm-hmm.
But not repeating the same action beats of the past movies, but
Right.
something that is
Right.
really cool and sexy and sleek and future.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the past couple years, the folks that have been doing Star Trek TV have picked and pulled from that. And some of those shows have a lot of spectacle. Some of it still looks like it's shot in Augustin's parents' van, but that's kind of Star Trek. That's the thing about weekly television that's sci-fi. Like, they have big budgets, but you still know when it's like you're filming a TV show on a set in Vancouver or whatever. So I think that it's just so much potentiality, and I think that those characters deserve first of all, Anton Yelchin deserves another great sort of tribute.
Yeah.
And I've already seen fans say like they should write his character to be transferred to another ship.
Yeah.
And just he's gonna live forever, and we love him, and and without replacing him. What's really funny, and I've talked about this before when I did an episode of Animation Investigation on Nerdist, but like when Star Trek was canceled in the 60s. After 3 seasons, and a couple years later, Gene Roddenberry was like, "What if it's an animated show?" And like tried to do it lower budget, animated 30-minute show instead, and was going to hire Leonard Nimoy and William Shatner. Nimoy, not really Shatner, I don't think. Nimoy fought to get everybody else hired.
Yeah,
he fought for Nichelle Nichols. He fought for George Takei, and somebody who didn't make the cut was the actor who played Chekhov, but Walter Koenig. But they hired him to write 1 episode. So he's still kind of involved in like the weird 2-season, like 70s, lower budget, really low budget animated show. So what they did is because Chekhov wasn't on the show, they had 2 new characters on the bridge, like in the main, where the captain sits and everything. And they were alien characters. And one of them was a cat lady. Her name was Mres. And she was just like, "Yes, Captain, we have this on the, starboard bow," or whatever.
Was
like,
the other
incoming.
person named Shmekov?
No, the other person better was Arex, and he was a 3-armed alien. He had an arm out of his chest, and like kind of an orange skin, like he had a weird, goofy head, kind of looked like a Star Wars character. Yeah. And he's like, "This way, Captain." And I'm like, you should just have the new movie.
Do something
have
like
those
that.
2 characters and have them be the sort of J.J. Abrams version of these characters, the Kelvin version, but they're not prominent, but they still have a couple great moments so that they're fan favorites, but it's not about them. It's not about them. It's about the other, human. It sounds specious. It sounds
why
shitty.
are you so specious?
It sounds crappy, but like,
Specious.
but you know what? Hell, if they're fan favorites, give them a Paramount Plus like limited series,
miniseries, 6 episodes.
But this cast, it's Chris Pine, it's Zoe Saldana. I can't wait to see them again and play those characters again, and maybe have some kind of a send off, a tribute, and I think do other big different things that the original movies didn't do. I'm not saying kill a character, but like in the original movies, Kirk didn't have a marriage that was successful, and he had a son who he kind of abandoned. And you learn that when you watch Wrath of Khan, where he meets up with that woman again and her adult son, and he's like, "I stayed away," like you said, and it was his kid. And then like, Uhura and Spock weren't together. And it's all these differences that in a new movie you could change it, and you can be like, you know what, in this one, Kirk is going to raise his son. Yeah. Like, that's the big emotion I'm talking about. That's the thing where I'm like...
Because then the stakes are, is Kirk going to die at the end of the movie?
Do a lone wolf and cub situation.
The wife should also still be alive. They should... His wife was Carol Marcus, and she was in Star Trek Into Darkness. Right. She was the British woman, the British blonde woman whose dad was RoboCop, and then...
Peter Weller,
Peter Weller's head got crushed, and we didn't see it, and she was like, "Oh my God!" Bring her back. Explain why she's British. I don't know. But just like, you could... And I would love to, even though they broke up in the last movie... Make her and Spock get back together. Yeah. And have them have a happy ending that's different than, do you know what I'm saying? Than the original prime timeline where the characters in.
So along with our jobs at DC, we are going to be hired
by Paramount to write Star Trek.
All the Star Trek stuff.
The Kelvin continues.
Everything. They're good. They're good. They're in good hands. Matt Shakman, come on. That WandaVision is expertly directed.
Yeah,
it's
it
awesome.
Really is.
It's
really
awesome.
Is.
So. Anyway,
I'm
that's
looking forward to it.
All right. Good night, everybody.
We still have Patreon questions to answer.
Oh, my God.
Pick your 3 top ones, because we're already at...
We'll do our top
4
3
in the morning right now,
We'll do
guys.
our top 3, and then we'll save the rest for the next Patreon episode.
Patreon exclusive,
Okay. Actually, there is one in Discord that I do want to address that I was like, oh, boy. This is a good one.
That's a good sound effect.
Never
man.
stops.
Good, huh? Yeah, stop that.
Hold on. Here we go. I have a personal question. This is from I Am Viddy. Can you talk about how you manage or organize your business and personal life? How do you create a balance or harmony with all these moving parts?
Jesus Christ.
It's Jason Bourne.
Jesus Christ, it's not possible.
Well, it's not easy. It's work.
It's
work.
Yeah, I mean, people get on us about not reacting to their favorite thing and, calling us Marvel shills or whatever you want to call us because that's what we react to. The reality is that a lot of our work falls on Adam. Mm-hmm. And a lot of this lynches on Adam at this point. Well, I mean, now we're trying to, with the success of all you guys helping us out, we're trying to branch out and bring on a team that can really help Adam. And it sucks.
And that's because you guys have other jobs too.
I mean, Hector and I have other jobs too, and you have other jobs that you do as well. But at the same time, like when it comes down to those very particular things of editing, like I've tried to edit videos, I can't do it like you because you pay attention to things so specifically, and so like the whole tone and quality and I would say professionalism of what our channel looks like falls on Adam and the development that you've done for everything for this channel, what this channel is, right?
Yeah. Basically, I've just brainwashed everyone to think that my editing's good.
No, it is good because you've been practicing for years at this point,
because we've been doing it for like 4 years now.
But not only that, you're emailing everybody. Look at this shirt. You got us a sponsor. Like you're talking to other people and, like
my balls smell real good right now.
You should be in my seat. I smell them from here.
It's true.
Yeah, there's wonderful in here. It's lanolin and lavender.
Hey, keep up the good work.
Keep up the good work, buddy.
It smells good.
But I guess all that to say is that, yes, it's a lot of work. And I know I'm speaking for Adam, but I feel like we've been in this for so long that like we all know what we each do. I have a full-time job. Hector is an internet superstar that does tons of other stuff. Right. Like you have so many other things going on that it makes it really difficult, and it sucks that everything has to go to you. But now that our channel, we're venturing on our own, all our content is ours, like we're finding a new groove like the Emperor did. I feel like things will change and things are starting to change. And I think it's all changed for the best, but it is turning into like a small business type of scenario. Where like we have people who work with us and we work with people and and
we also have to deliver to a client who are basically the viewers or fans or friends of ours on the internet. So in terms of work-life balance, I think another thing that you're really good at and you're really good at is like setting aside time to do personal stuff and fun stuff.
I'm not good at that at all.
No, you are.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
No, I'm not.
because well, I mean, I'm not in your room with you every single day, as you're doing stuff. But I see sometimes that you'll post stuff online and you'll be like, "Hey, I got to take a break and I'm just gonna do some Instagram questions." Hey, I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna watch this movie tonight. I'm really looking forward to watching this movie. Or I just got in this Blu-ray. Thank you, Warner Brothers or whatever. And then you like watch the movie. And then you still do stuff for you. Yeah. Because there are some folks who, like the Dwayne Johnsons of the world, they're workaholics and they're inspirational and they inspire that. But like the Dwayne Johnsons of the world, they also know how to spend time with their family. They make it a priority. And sometimes my only piece of advice would be the same way that we schedule out work stuff. Don't take that for granted and just assume that you don't have to do that for fun, personal, relaxing time. Schedule out a nap.
Yeah.
I'm not even
for
kidding.
Real.
Schedule out like, hey,
go take yourself out to dinner.
Hey, sweetheart, I want to do this thing around the house. And I'm going to be busy during the week. But it needs to get done. But like, I'm going to do it on Saturday. I'm going to schedule it out. I'm going to do this thing on Saturday, the relaxing day. But I'm going to do this thing for me, for my peace of mind. And then Sunday, I'm going to schedule out. We're going to go out and get something to eat or go see a movie or something. Like to actually try to schedule things that you don't think need scheduling, but they're important. Do it. Schedule it. Yeah. And it's very helpful. And I feel like it's even a peace of mind until that happens too, because sometimes I get it's almost like when you know that upcoming Sunday is a cheat day. I'm like, oh, salads all week, baby. I'm fine.
I'm
fine salads all week because I know the
Sunday's
reward.
my day.
Sunday's my day. So like, oh, I really miss you. I want to spend time with you, or I want to do this thing, or I want to take the kids and go do this. It's difficult to not be able to do that during your busy life, but to know at the end of the month we're going here. We're doing this.
Back at it. Yeah.
Oh man, I can't wait for that. And do that. Do that. It's fun.
It sucks, but that's the reality of adult life. You know, like you really have to just kind of make time for things because it'll get away from you.
Yeah. And I also think if we hadn't figured out how to do a lot of this remotely,
my God,
we wouldn't be able to do as many videos as we're doing now.
We wouldn't have been able to do any for 2 years.
Yeah.
Like we wouldn't have been able to.
Yeah. We would not be watching all these shows.
We thought that the only way people would watch us is if we were in the same room together. This was pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
When the pandemic happened, we were like, fuck it. We're just going to do this remotely regardless. We're going to start a new channel. Like, we're going to do it. And, I mean, luckily, we're able to make it work, and people are watching, and, like, it's really great because there's no way in hell, as much as I love watching shows with you guys, that I would make you want to drive over here.
Or even ask you guys to, if we were to split it up. It's like,
and then finish watching and talking about a show and then drive back home at 3 a.m. And then wake up at 7 to go back to work. Like, that's
I would
rough, dude.
Yeah.
I would die on the freeway, driving on the freeway. You guys would feel so bad.
I would feel bad.
I would feel bad.
It's true.
Yeah. I wouldn't be mad if you haunted me.
I know. I know.
I'd be like,
okay. Son of a bitch.
Pull on your little toes in the middle of the night.
Yeah, pull my toes. It's fine.
Be like, was it worth it?
It's fine.
Was it worth it?
No, Hector, I told you 1,000 times.
Was Falcon and Winter Soldier worth it?
No, I said no.
I died on the freeway.
Yeah, I mean, going remote has been like a lifesaver for us because even trailer reactions, like
we just banged one out today before I came over.
Yeah, exactly. Now we can do this thing where we're like, okay, at 6 o'clock we're gonna meet up, we're gonna do these trailers or whatever. Yeah. Sometimes if we're lucky enough and everyone has a clear schedule, we can literally say, I'll see you in 15 minutes.
Yep.
But like if we had to wait for everybody to drive to one location, to get anywhere in LA,
which was the case beforehand because
everyone drove to one location.
Everyone drove to whatever location we were filming at, and there was tons of times where I couldn't make it out, Hector couldn't make it out, and it sucks because it's like we like to work off of each other, and I feel like that's really what works is when all three of us are together in one place. But it's hard. Being an adult sucks.
Yeah, balance is tough, especially like recently because we've been doing more shows. Like I've done my best to try to set aside some time to just go do like personal things.
Yeah.
But then it always ends up putting you behind doing something else.
That's fine. But again, it's about the work-life balance.
Yeah, exactly.
At some point, you have to just be like, I have to put a pause on this, and I have to go do other things.
We will always be behind in life, But if we can mentally clock out at 5 p.m., clock out, even if we're working from home, and we go, dude, I'm going to do this today from 9 to 5. Yeah. But then at 5, even if you're like, I just need to finish, if you can walk away and hit it back tomorrow and pick it up then, it'll be better for your mental health.
Yeah, agreed.
If you had one question to ask Stan Lee, what would it be?
Oh, my God.
Tyler Beckett.
Do you want onions on that?
That's weird. Yeah.
I used to work at In-N-Out, so.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I think genuinely my question would be if I was like, walk up to him at SDCC, I would literally say, do you want to go have a California burrito with me?
That would be pretty great.
And I feel like from there you would just naturally spin into conversation.
See, but this is just assuming that like he's at Comic-Con and he says, no, I can't have lunch with you, but you have one question to ask me.
Right.
What would that be?
And there's also, if this is a magical thing, can I travel back in time and talk to him? Can I see him in the 60s?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, because I'm like 92-year-old Stan Lee, sweet. That's awesome.
But we're asking too many questions at this point. Stan Lee's in front of you. You have one question. He has 5 minutes.
Honestly, what was Jack Kirby like? That's what I would ask.
Okay.
To see if he'd be like, he was the greatest. He was the king. Thanks, kid. And I'd be like, I'll take it. Whatever. Like, I would want to see, because I like reading about him, talking about how great the artists were that he worked with.
Yeah.
And how great the creatives, Jack Kirby, writer and artist. Like, but just, I think that would be great because he talks about himself enough.
He does like to talk about himself quite often. Quite often.
So that would be great. All right. Next question.
Go.
From Ronan Unchained. Hey, fellas, congrats on almost or just hitting 1,600 patrons and close to 75,000 subscribers. Let's get to 75K, y'all. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
My question is, what are some independent films and comics you'd recommend to people? Me, Ex Machina from A24 and Angel City from Oni Press. Salud. anything almost from A24 is going to be a really good time.
Yeah.
You are probably not going to want to get high before you watch any of them if that's something that you participate in.
Hereditary messed
Because
me up, bro.
holy shit.
Hereditary messed me up.
The Green Knight is great. Midsommar is great. Hereditary is great. A24 has a long list of great movies. One of my favorites, favorite movies, has Tom Hardy in it. And the name escapes me right now. It's a 90-minute movie.
Called Venom.
No,
That's so far it
it's
is.
called Venom
Tom
2.
Hardy, 90-minute movie.
That's true.
The
It's a
name
90-minute
escapes me.
movie of him driving from his work to the hospital as his girlfriend is giving labor to a child, and his whole life just unravels.
Wow.
And it's a
That's
spiral.
wild.
That's A24 film.
A24 film.
Of course
Whoa.
it is. Of course it's an A24 film.
It's great.
It's called Venom on the Way to the Hospital.
Venom's gonna have a kid.
Yeah, it's unraveling. Like, I don't know. I want to make sure I get that to my kid. I don't know, Eddie.
I don't know. Can I eat him?
Maybe the kid's not yours. Can I eat him? No, you can't eat the kid. It's my kid. You can't eat my kid. So you tell me you can't eat the kid. I'm not gonna. What am I gonna name him? Name him Venom. It's a terrible name.
Symbiote.
Venom. Name him.
What's it called? What's it?
Night Monkey.
What was the bad guy from the first Venom? What was it? Riot.
Riot. There you go. Name him Riot.
Your kid's gonna be like me, Eddie.
I am a terrible.
Locke was the name of the movie.
I don't have a lot of indie things that I watch because I just don't have the bandwidth to go find indie things and lesser known things.
What's the last movie that you watched that you thought was good? It could be in theaters. It could be,
That's literally the last movie I saw in theaters.
What about a TV show? Something? Are you guys watching something other than 90 Day Fiance?
Other than everything that's on our channel.
Bitchin' Rides.
Bitchin' Rides. All right.
Orale.
Now, see, here's what I love about that is that it reminds me of the showrunners from Lost back in the day when they were making that show.
Yeah.
You know, for 10, 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
And somebody once asked them at the same time as their show was airing, Battlestar Galactica was on. And they asked them, you guys watching Battlestar Galactica? And they went, listen, we do this for 12 hours. Like we break story
every day.
and we figure out this complex and, you know, this that when we go home, we watch Rock of Love. Like, I don't do any of that. But as soon as we're done with Lost, he goes, I think it was Damon Lindelof or maybe Carlton Cuse. They're like, as soon as we're done with this show, I'm going to go back and watch Battlestar. I'm going to go back and watch all these other great long-form, you know, Breaking Bad or whatever the hell was on the air at the time.
I fill my time with so many things that I like to do personally that I don't go and they're not film-centric, basically.
Motorcycles.
I was up till 2:30 last night working on my motorcycle. Or not the night before. Like... I was just awesome. Like, because I couldn't get this out of my head. I was like, I need to do this and I need to do that, and I have all the things to do it, so I might as well do it. So I had to do it.
That's like me
and I did
with movies and TV shows.
Exactly.
I was up till 2 a.m. last night watching Jessica Jones season 1. I'm like, this is good.
Thing. Like,
we were all up super late doing very different things.
I could stay up and watch Jessica Jones, or I could go find something up. But the other things that I like to do are just like, well, I'd rather just go do this right now. I'm going to teach
you how to make some thumbnails.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I tried it. It's fucking hard.
Yeah.
I tried it.
I don't know if you guys know this, but you know the thumbnails that we make? I have to paint in all of our shoulders.
Yes, I know. Because I've seen the stretch.
I saw
it's all faded out because I'm like, I'm not painting these logos.
I saw with this. I felt bad because I had my sarape on.
Yeah.
And I saw the fade. I was like, oh, you just stretch that thing. That's fine.
I just smudge.
Yeah, I just smudge.
Smudge tool is my friend, baby.
Yeah, that's okay.
Next time I'll take I feel like we need to take I don't know. Can you not? You only get the footage in there? All right.
It's fine. I'm sure we filmed enough that you have video of every T-shirt I own,
pretty much,
and every facial expression.
I'm just gonna start pasting pieces
exactly.
Of shirts
just
together.
Like I'll let you take a picture of my shirt.
And
then you could just put it
copy
in there.
paste,
scan it in.
Yeah.
So it looks all like whoa.
It's all flat.
Yeah. JPEG.
Yeah.
Oh God. We have more questions, but we will save those for the Patreon episode that we will be doing at some point later on, either in this month or in the next month, because we just did one. So, we're going to space that out a little bit.
Here's your call to action.
Yes.
Join the Patreon if you haven't. So much good stuff in there, and it's so much fun. We have a bitchin' community. It's awesome. Be positive about the stuff you love. Even if you don't love something, like I was like, Snake Eyes was bad. I felt bad about it. I don't enjoy saying that. Right. I felt bad about it, and I'm not going to say anything else about the movie Snake Eyes. Yeah. So if you enjoy it and watch it, awesome. Please keep doing that. Thirdly, tell us what you thought about Doctor Strange. Do you think we're going to get an animated segment? Fourthly, Tell us what your favorite part of that DC sizzle reel was. Which one are you most excited about? Is it the Batman? What is it about the Batman? And should Mr. Freeze be the villain in part 2? Fifthly, are you excited about new Star Trek stuff? What's been your favorite Star Trek movie or show? And do you or are you excited about a fourth one and Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto and everybody and them coming back? What do you want to see them do in it? Give me some pitches. I'm talking like Denzel Washington as a Klingon, that kind of stuff. Here, let me hear it. Let me hear the pitches.
All the wildness.
And lastly, go fuck yourself. No, I'm kidding. Cut that part out. Cut that part out.
Lastly, go subscribe to the channel. Let's get to 75,000 and beyond. And don't do what Hector just said.
No. There's still another lastly that we haven't really talked about, but very quickly, we're fortunate enough to have our first sponsor this episode. Go check out the link that's in the description and everything that we have here.
Use the code Heroes.
Use the code Heroes Reforged. This is our first time, so we need y'all to show up for us so that we can get more sponsors, so that we can keep doing this forever.
Yeah. And your balls will thank you for it.
All right, let's get out of here. I gotta go shave my balls.